What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back for another episode of Bodybuilding University. And today I am joined by Baidi, Farl up in the top corner, and we've got also Leo Mayrhofer of the Overcome podcast as well. And Baidi, we were just talking before the pod about Leo, before Leo even got on here as well, about how he's like up the quality of his podcasting and doing in-person podcasts as well.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, the Steve Weinberger one was really good, man. I thought it was a good interview as far as the host goes. And Steve is the open book, you know. The camera quality, the audio, everything was great. It looked like a professional fucking, you know, very professional. Good job, Leo.
Yeah. Like, I have a company that works with me. They kind of invested in it. So usually they charge way more. The guy has done valuetainment and PBD podcasts for 4 years. So he's worked with entertain and all kinds of people. So, and he was following my podcast and he was like, I think we can make this big, and I'm going to go in 50-50 and let's see what we can do. And now I just, I'm still a little picky because when it comes to editing, like I give out notes like for the thumbnail and the segments we're going to give out and what should be in the intro, because the people editing, they're not like bodybuilding experts. So I feel like I have to give them some interest, you know, but it's so nice just have to send the footage to them and they do everything. And then, you know, I'll just do a little bit here and there. And they have a really cool AI software which I can use too. And it's kind of rating when you edit your description and your keywords, it gives the keyword scores and how good your title is, how likely it is to be clicked and stuff. I mean, it's still AI, so it can't 100% predict what people really like, you know, but it's really interesting. It's like it wants short titles, really short titles.
Yeah, I've discovered that recently. Like a few of my titles have been shorter, like trying to keep it like 70 characters or under, because I think you get up to 100, isn't it, or something? But
yeah, you get 100.
They love those short titles now, and because I've always been of the thought, like, you know, you want to put the keywords in the title, which you still want to do, but sometimes people will do a video, and I'll see it'll be just say it's about a bodybuilder, right? Like it's more in other industries, but just say they do a video on Derek Lunsford. I would always be like, I have to put Derek Lunsford in the title, but they'll just use Derek Lunsford in the picture and it'll be like a close up. So it's very obvious it's Derek Lunsford, and they might even put his name on there. And then they might put like, it's all over, ? Or something. And that will still get huge clicks because they've put probably like Derek Lunsford in the description, mentioned the word Derek Lunsford, because now YouTube pick up on the actual words you're saying more now for actual searching. So if you mention, you know, a lot about Derek Lunsford in a video and someone is watching a Derek Lunsford video, the next suggested video might be our one, you know?
Yeah, you want to make people really curious and evoke emotion, but the name, if it's a highly searched name, you want it in the title. It depends. Some people are not that highly searched, so you put their name in the keywords, and then you'll see if their name is highly, like with that AI, you see that if their name's highly searched for, and if they're not really popular, it doesn't matter that much. So for example, with Eric Janicki, his name like showed up as like crazy important, so I need to put that name in. But it's also very interesting how cooperative people I do a podcast with are in the aftermath of the podcast. If they collaborate on the reels, if they repost the podcast, and like a lot of people, I don't know, they don't really care if people watch the podcast, or maybe they're afraid it takes away from their own channels. I have no idea. But some people collaborate like a lot, like Dave Palumbo, like amazing. And other people like Eric has like a strict 1 post a day policy. Everything's planned out. And he doesn't even manage his own YouTube. So it's really hard to make him collaborate just for that. And I love the guy. He's super nice guy. Not anything bad on him, but it's really different. So if you have a more collaborative person that might not even have the following, you could still get a way better outcome. Yeah, so it's very, very interesting. Yeah. And yeah, I was like thinking, if I do a podcast, like everyone does Zoom, like we do here, it's way more convenient. But I'm in LA, so I can try to do something extraordinary because people always show up here. And then now I got some iPhone 15s. I bought 2 iPhone 15s because my media editor said that's like really high quality. I could film with those. So if I'm like in Pittsburgh in 2 weeks, and then in New York, I already have like George Farrell wants to do it in New York. Some other guys too, Kevin English, 3 times Mr Olympia 202. So I already have some people then lined up, so I can do some in New York, and pretty good.
That's cool, man. That's awesome. And like you said, the new iPhones and stuff, the video quality is actually really good. You got to just make sure you got it on like the proper settings as well on the phone, because I think as standard on the iPhone, I don't think the 4K is like turned on, but you can turn that on.
Yeah,
60 frames if you want it.
Yeah, in the right corner, and then it's like you get to 4K 60 whatever, and then it's fine. Yeah, but he said really iPhone 15 it has to be. 14 is not good enough. So he said, my editor said, you gotta get at least the iPhone 15, otherwise you need a camera. But I'm not good with cameras. I'm honestly too lazy to learn. I'm like, iPhones, I can do that. So,
yeah, their auto settings on there are good, a good enough quality, and they're pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mess it up.
Yeah. If
you give me a camera and I have to do it myself, I might mess it up. Like until now, my videographer has done it. So I'm losing a shit ton of money right now. Like I'm all investing in this. That's why I always tell people always tell me, oh, it's so great. Like, please share it, bro. If you love it, please tell someone.
Dude, it's the funny thing is as well, like you look at Patrick Bet-David, like what he did. I was thinking at the start of that when he was getting, her video was like 20,000 views. Like I was sort of watching then, and he's having like Phil Heath on. I know he had Aaron Singerman on. I know he had a whole bunch of people, and then he's interviewing the bodybuilders as well. But when he was just doing his podcast early days, I'm like, that studio plus having the people he's paying, I'm like, he's putting out money right now, like a decent amount of money, and would not be bringing near that amount back. But obviously now you look at where Patrick Bet-David is in terms of the media side of things, it's paying off now. He's at that point where it is paying off.
Some people invest in stocks. I invest in myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's cool. Yeah, have you ever done any testing on any the AI sort of stuff? I know there's like image testing and all that sort of stuff now.
Well, as far as like the podcast goes?
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, man. I don't, when it comes to, this is not like advice, but when it comes to like social media, man, I don't really get into like the views and algorithm. I just kind of post. It's just that it already takes so much of my time already, and I can't give any more time to it, honestly. So I kind of just post, and then whatever happens, happens. You know what I'm saying? If you want to grow, you're supposed to learn these things. I don't have the bandwidth right now, so I just post, and then if it does well, it does well. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know what I'm saying?
The good thing is you have like a good names you're collaborating with all the time. You probably have a good volume that you put out, and then that's going to drive people. So,
and super consistent too, man. You've been so super consistent. Probably like the most consistent podcast, I'd say. Doing 2 a week. I think you only did one week, wasn't it, or something? You skipped.
Yeah, since we started, I've only missed 1 episode out of 50 something so far.
Yeah, that's very important.
I saw a stat the other day. Someone was mentioning it, and it was I think it was only 1% or 2% of podcasts get past episode 11 or something. So it's like the drop off rate when people start podcasts. It's like I've seen so many podcasts where it's like episode 2, episode 1, episode 4, and then you notice that they're from a year ago. So it's like a lot of people drop off.
I think it was like 95% don't make it to episode 20.
Yeah. It was some stat like that. I was like, that's crazy.
All three of us do podcasts, so we know exactly why that is, because everybody thinks it's easy, right? It's just an easy thing, right? It's so easy. If anybody could do it, right? Until they try it, and then they realize how difficult it is. So I think that's why a lot of people don't make it very long.
Yeah.
I mean, the one with Justin I did online on my bodybuilding account, that was pretty easy. But if you need someone who's pretty reliable, but because it's like online and you don't have to edit much at all.
Yeah.
I put in the editing was like, I put the intro
Not
in.
much.
Well, it wasn't much, but dude, in person and scheduling people, and then have to schedule with the videographer too. Oh my God. And
that's a whole different ballgame.
And people are like, you know how they are, like the more famous they are. And like right now, it's most of the people do me more a favor than themselves. So it's like a lot of people treat you like that too. So they'd be like, well, I can't, like one day before, like I'm not going to make it. And you have your videographer booked, you know, they don't care. You just fucked. But yeah, that's you have to play the game. You have to be nice, and you have to keep going. But yeah, you do what you do.
That's it.
And once you're deep in, you're like, I'm not quitting. So that's good.
Yeah. Guests are always going to be the hardest part, even when you're doing it online. Is that because you're asking these people to give you their time, right? They're giving you however much time, whether it's an hour or 2 hours, and time is valuable at the end of the day. So it's not like they're getting paid, right? So if they're going to give you their time, it got to be worth it to them sometimes. And a lot of times it's not really worth it to them. So they're basically doing you a favor about a lot of the time. So then the ball is in their hands. Like you just said, they can just be like, nah, I'm not feeling it. And you got to take it with grace. At the end of the day, they don't have to do it. You know what I'm saying? So the hard part to consistently get people to do it can be tough, right? Even with Justin's, you're good friends with Justin. I'm good friends with Justin. But like you can't guarantee you're gonna get him every week, because he's I'll spend days with him, and he's a very busy man. So at the end of the day, it's like he does it when he can, and sometimes he can't. So I get Justin on here and there, but that goes for everybody. The main squad, I've been able to get them consistently, but I purposely built the squad to like 5-6 people, because I know I can get at least 3 or 4 of them, right? But you can't get all of them all the time. You know what I'm saying? So what I learned is I try to overbook, you know. Now, if you're doing one-on-one guests like Leo, you can't overbook. You're just that one guy. And then he just says, nope. Then you're like, well, I guess that's it. No fucking podcast. So, I mean, it is difficult, but people don't know how hard it is. People think they're going to just go and they're going to get somebody like no problem and everything's fine. But no, it's not that easy, bro. That's tough. You know?
What I always do is throughout the week, if I pick up some cool topics that are not like totally current, so they're a little timeless, I'll write them down. If there's a video, I put the link in my notes. So whenever I have to, I can do a solo podcast. So I can always fill time. Like the one before the one that just came out. So today, the one with Corey came out about female bodybuilding, women on steroids, bikini, all kinds of divisions, pros and cons. Before that, I had a solo podcast, and I talked about exercise science, picked up on some videos there, and on why bodybuilders are dying, because I have a little different stance on that. A lot of background info that most people don't consider. And then I found out Arnold's first cycle when he was 15 years old. His old coach from back then exposed it in a interview. Like it was kind of interesting what he took with 15. You know, everyone thought like he was natural back then, but already with 15, he was like taking some stuff. I mean, like when I when I first saw the video of him when he was 19 years old at the card, you guys, and he's like pumping up, you know, he's like pretty swole. I was like, this guy's not natural.
They used to think weird things back in the day, man. Like back then, they thought like test made you fat. So they'd cut out test while they died a lot of the time, and or do a very small amount and then just do a lot of the orals and stuff. And I'm like, very
They
interesting.
probably didn't. They didn't know it was converting, so they thought the water was fat.
Yeah.
They had no AIs.
It's so crazy that that's only like the 70s. You know, it's not that crazy long ago. Even the whole concept of like human evolution. Like now we know that we have a certain amount of fluid in our body, a certain amount of muscle, a certain amount of, you know, all this sort of stuff. It's just crazy to me. We've only known this sort of recently. Pretty crazy.
The funniest thing though is that people still are like listening to Mike Mencher's advice on dieting, where you're like, dude, why don't you listen to someone from nowadays who has like 20 years more of research? Like, why would she? I mean, he must have like what's the chances that he's like 100% right compared to someone nowadays?
He's nailed it the best with 60 years or no, 30 years, 40 years, whatever. Yeah, extra knowledge. Yeah, I know what you mean, but it is crazy though that back in the day, a lot of the stuff they did early years bodybuilding. Now, I'm not saying the amount of training they did, because naturally, I suppose, starting this sort of thing, you would always naturally think more is better. Like more training, you're going to get bigger. So I get why they did that early years. But a lot of the exercises, it's crazy how some of them really like stood the test of time and they're still the best exercise. And we've developed all these different machines and they still sometimes often can't do as good of a job as what free weights does. It's pretty crazy that we haven't developed something past free weights, really. I mean, we've advanced machines and all that stuff's got better, but you can still say, hey, a preacher curl, they had that back in the day. Everyone still has a preacher curl in their gym, you know?
If you ask me, I have to choose for life free weights or machines, I will never choose machines. No way.
Yeah. Maybe now I've got injuries and stuff, I'm like, a little bit more, but yeah, I get you. Like with age, because I'm like the rest of my life, like later years, I'm probably going to use more machines, but I still think there's benefit though to having those, like, you know, stabilizing muscles and doing all that sort of stuff. So I think even for older people, I think it's still important to include the free weight side of things.
Oh, well, yeah.
But here's the thing. I think when people say free weights, people imagine Ronnie Coleman squatting 800 pounds, right? But let's say if you're 60 years old, you can still just squat. You can squat fucking the bar with 25s on each side. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think like Leo's getting at, like, if I had to choose only one, I would always choose free weights. But I'm not going to be squatting 5 plates when I'm sick. You know what I'm saying? I would just do what it takes. So I think free weights, it doesn't have to be a crazy amount of weight, you know? So the reason why I think a lot of people nowadays prefer machines is they feel like they could focus more on the body part. But you could focus with free weights. Just nobody wants to. Everybody feel like if you T-bar row, you got to do this. You know what I'm saying? You can T-bar row with perfect fucking form like a machine, but nobody does that because it's hard. People rather fucking do this with the dumbbell. You know what I'm saying? But if you really pay attention, Janik, but I've seen Janik use free weights and he'll just control it super slow, and it's like a machine almost, right? You know what I'm saying? But I definitely use more machines nowadays, just because more so in prep for my energy. I don't have a lot of energy, so I'm like, hey, if I could use this machine instead of grabbing 6 plates, it's gonna save me energy so that I don't burn the fuck out, you know. But I still enjoy free weights, sure.
Yeah, I rather do the opposite. I try to burn
more.
So
I
was like, don't skip the hard stuff. You know, it feels tempting, but don't skip it unless it's something where you're really likely to injure yourself. But you can always use a weight that you can really control. Like if I would do, like, I love, for example, dumbbell rows, single arm. But if I would do that really heavy, you can really tweak your back easily. But if you do it with the 85s, like, I think that's still the best exercise for your back. And I see no one doing it.
Do you say barbell rows or one-arm rows?
One-arm rows, single arm rows.
Yeah, one-arm rows are hard. The one reason why I probably wouldn't do them again is, because the risk of tweaking your back, and I've got bulging discs, but also my family are like prone to hernias, and I've had an umbilical hernia fixed. And a lot of people, like my dad, got hernias like in his groin sort of area, and he had, I think, 2 of them or something at one time. And I'm like, Yeah, and I actually heard I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was John Meadows or someone like that saying that doing one arm rows heavy with heavy weight, you've got much more risk of actually causing a hernia in that groin area.
Oh yeah.
So when I heard that as well, and I'm like, plus my back, I'm like, I don't think I'll ever touch that exercise again unless it's done in like a really strict form, you know?
Yeah.
And
Right.
you can do that and pull into the hip and do a real strict. So I might still do that again,
awesome.
but not heavy ever again in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Adi Chopin, for example, like he moves half the weight with other muscles. I mean, it's like no way you can move that, like, even if you're super strong. So you got to decide, like, everything you do with perfect form, you're not likely to injure yourself. But, to the hernias, I think most of the people, actually, not you or someone, like, and that is an exercise where you really, you push it out. It's really hard on the, what's it called? This layer underneath in your stomach. But most of the people wear their belts wrong, and they shouldn't wear belts at all. And they breathe wrong into the belts. They totally let go of their midsection, and then they load them heavy, and then they get a hernia. Like, yeah. I want to see a guy with a hernia that never uses a belt. You're not going to find him.
Guy with a hernia that never uses a belt. Oh, actually, you don't see my family. Some of them don't even.
Yeah, okay, your family. Yeah.
We have that weak tissue, man. We got that weak connective tissue.
People, of course, you can find someone, of course, but
yeah.
For some reason, people think that using your belt keeps your core tighter, but it's the opposite because you're relying on the belt. You know,
unless you're very, very friggin' aware, you have to be like perfect at how to breathe, and you have to focus extra on your core. Because people just take the focus totally off, and then they do the opposite of what they want to achieve. Like they blow their guts out like crazy over the belt.
Yeah, there's a time and place for belts. Like I think they can be used well and used, like you said, Leo. Like a lot of people use them wrong.
When I use the belt,
honestly, I used to just go like, okay, I'm doing a heavy exercise, rip my belt tight, bang, go, and my back's fucked. So, yeah, I realized, and it's funny because I only realized, I don't know how many years ago, I guess when I hurt my back, that's probably a contributing factor, that I was just ripping my belt tight all the time when I did a heavy lift. Probably not a good idea. So
yeah.
I only use it when I do very heavy incline dumbbell presses for the chest, because when I put the weight on and I have to lift them a little up, and then I obviously focus on keeping my core tight, but then it feels doable if I would pull 140s up front on my, when you stand there and you put in here, and you go down, and then I like to have a belt, but that's the only thing I use it for.
I just stopped using it for legs completely, just because I wasn't able to get as low as I wanted to get, right? So I was like, did I get weaker? I'm like, I used to be like, I'm like, I used to squat 6 plates for working sets. So why am I weak? Why can't I do that anymore? But then I look at my old videos. I have the belt on super tight. I got my knee wrap super tight, and I'm going as low as my body lets me. But my body can't let me go that low because the belt is squishing all my stomach together, and it's like there's so much pressure on my body that I think I'm going ass to grass, which technically I am, but the wraps are limiting my range. The belt is limiting my range. So I watch my squat now with 4 plates versus 6 plates, and it's like a complete different exercise. My range of motion is like fucking 5 inches deeper, you know what I'm saying? And my legs are bigger. So if my legs are bigger with 4 plates, then I'm not doing it right with 6 plates. End of the day, I'm a bodybuilder, so so that's how I look at it nowadays. So I don't really use a belt besides sometimes for barbell rows, sometimes for deadlifts, but even then, a lot of the times I'm just like, I just need to control it better, and I just control it. Simple as that,
Man, it's funny what you was mentioning about it's a little bit off topic, but we was mentioning about like growing better with 4 plates rather than more, using more weight. Mm-hmm. It's funny, there's some body parts where it's like that's 100% true. Like certain body parts, like especially like arms and stuff, and especially like, if you're using heavier weight, you're probably more likely to get like tendonitis or issues like that. But for chest, I remember back in the day, I didn't used to press properly and I had a small chest, but I was, strongest I ever was when I was like 17 or something on bench pressing. Yeah. But I lightened it down and I felt like my chest actually didn't grow, but I was a lot weaker, but my chest would just be isolated. Like I wouldn't get a sore front delts, I wouldn't get sore triceps, it would just be chest. And it was actually advice from Milos on his Secrets of the Pros, I think it was, DVD. And he's like, make sure your elbows are right up, like your shoulder pulled down, your chest is like fully pushed all the way out, and I would keep it super, super strict. So my bench press went from like, I don't know, just say like 220 or probably over that to, I don't know, like 140 or something, just really light, but it would, to get to 12 reps and it was so slow that it would be burning. So it felt like it was doing more, but I felt like a form in between the two was the best for me. Because after that, it's like, okay, I've got this proper connection with my chest now, so I'll probably train me to feel it. But I felt like my chest didn't grow that much. But when I went to like, weight somewhere in between, slightly more of a heavier side, but with that sort of similar form, just a little bit faster tempo, that's when I felt like my chest actually grew. So I feel like sometimes there's that like happy medium of like, okay, enough resistance plus isolating the muscle and all that. So
yeah. You got to find your sweet spot for yourself too, with legs, the slow movements, it's not slow, but it's controlled movements work for me. But yeah, when I tried it for chest as well, I did maybe a few months in the off season where I'm like, okay, I'm not purposely lightening the weight, but because the form, the weight is a lot lighter. And I felt a pump, but it was like a superficial pump. It wasn't the same. There's the difference between the pump you get. Let's say you take a 10-pound dumbbell and you hold it like this for a minute. You're going to get a shoulder pump. Or if you do the bike with a lot of resistance, you're going to get a leg pump. But there's a difference between that and doing a 4 or 5 squat or doing 40-pound lateral raises. One is like a superficial blood pump, and one is like a deep, like I feel like the fibers are pumped. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like
water is being drawn to the area because of the damage as well. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think you have to be able to feel it. And there's sets where I feel it during the set. As I'm doing the set, I'm feeling my back working versus I don't really feel it, but I get a pump. So when I go too light sometimes and focus too much on form, sometimes I get like a superficial pump where I'm like, I'm pretty pumped, but it's not the same. And I don't feel like
they go quick, don't they? They leave quick. Those pumps.
They leave quick. Yeah. So I got to agree with you on that, but it's different for everybody. Nick Walker trains like that and he's growing like crazy. But I've tried that, and for some body parts, I don't connect better. For back, when I go too slow, sometimes my biceps take over. I don't know. So you almost have to find a sweet spot for your body. We're all built a little bit different. So it's going to vary for some people. It is going to vary for some people.
And let's be real as well. It makes a difference if you're using insulin as well. Like people don't really mention it, but like the types of workout, like, if you're someone's using X amount of IU of insulin, then, they're going to go in there and maybe have a slightly different workout, maybe, to someone who's not,
I'm not an insulin guy. But I don't think Leo is neither, right?
No.
Yeah, I'm not. The pumps are crazy. I'm not going to lie. The fucking pumps are crazy.
I used insulin one time when I lived in Texas, and I thought I was on TRT. Turned out the test was fake. So my blood work showed that my test was 89 or 69. Totally like a grandpa, like 120 years old, like non-existent. So my pumps were really much better. I used I only used was it before and after? I think so. And that I did for like 20 workouts or so. But to be honest, I think a lot of times when you're over fat or you're on some stuff that gives you a crazy pump, it makes you weaker and you have to stop a few reps before you usually stop. That's also why I like to train without carbs. I think I'm having a better workout. If I would be off season, full blown, had a lot of carbs before my workout, I would do less reps. I couldn't even. Or high rep stuff, can't even do it. I'm my shoulder hurts. Last time I did 20. Now it's up at 10. So what's gonna just because you have more pump, is that so much more beneficial than doing double as many reps? I would say no. So
it's funny you say that. because my strongest is always like the first 4 weeks when I come off cycle, when I lose that water retention, but I'm still but I still have a good level of test. That's like my strongest. Sometimes there's been times that my strongest ever was on a cruise, and I was on that cruise for quite some time, and I was by far my strongest ever because I'm not walking around pumped as hell. So I'm just repping heavy weight for high reps, not even high reps, but I was in PRs, rep PRs, weight PRs, and then also beginning of prep when I lose that initial off-season bloat, I'm stronger than I am peak off-season. But over 300 pounds is not my strongest. And I've talked to many people. Most people, their heaviest weight is not their strongest. They feel lethargic. Their strength starts to go down. That's usually when I try not to push any higher than that. Once I hit that point, I'm like, why am I going to push higher just to train not as hard, So you got to play around with that. Yeah.
Yeah. The strongest I've ever been is 4 weeks out of I think about 4 weeks out of a comp. So my weight, it's different, when you're pushing a bit harder and stuff, when you're competing and stuff.
Sounds like you do golden era cycles, and that's what.
grow into the show, baby.
Like it's 3 months on, 3 months off. So you go from nothing.
Yeah. Something like that.
That's what they did. It's kind of weird.
My preps are literally, my last prep was, I didn't get to step on stage of a show I wanted to do because that was when the whole flu kicked off around the world. So it was touch and go when the contest was actually going to happen, and had to make a decision 4 or 5 days out because of the flights, and there were so many connecting flights. It was like thousands of dollars. So I was like, I don't think it's going to happen. So I pulled out, and then it happened. So the best I ever looked to, I finished second to a guy who won his pro card the year before, and I was like, yeah. But anyway, regardless of that, the contest I did before that, I only did 7 weeks before that show, and then it was going to be, I think, because it was 4 weeks later was the actual Arnold, and so that was 11 weeks. So it was going to be an 11-week prep total. But that first show, compared to what I looked like at the start of that first one, 7 weeks into prep, compared to just a week out of the other one, it was like night and day. So,
are you going to try again?
I want to, yeah. And now my life's settling a bit, in terms of, seeing my children, all that sort of stuff. It's, I think that, I would like to do it, man. I'd definitely like to do it. But am I just getting priorities straight? It's like first things first. But at the same time, man, in men's physique, I actually want to have a run at it. I want to try to get a pro card and then be able to go and compete in a pro contest in the US where it has open men's bodybuilding and stuff too, just to be a part of the backstage. You've done it, Leo. I
give you my immigration attorney, and then you get the pro card and you can move here.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, you want to get out of Australia, bro. You want to get out of there.
Yeah.
Is there?
We get spiders that can kill you in your pool, and they live at the bottom for days. Yeah, funnel webs. They live at the bottom for days, and they live off their little air bubbles down there.
Yeah,
and watch yourself.
It's more dangerous than some spiders over there.
Yeah. From what I've seen from Xavier's, I don't know if this was his best look, but I've seen some looks of yours, and in the U.S., you would be able to turn pro in men's physique. I don't know how the competition is in Australia, but from the U.S., they give quite a few men's physique pro cards, and I think you look better than a lot of guys here that I see turn pro. So I don't think you have an issue turning pro right here.
It's just Australia. There's a lot. It's just size for me, pretty much.
You have the you have the structure. You have the structure. It's just So
I've had men's physique clients turn pro, and they were the smallest guy in the show, but they had, like Leo said, they just had the structure. Because a guy is bigger than you, but he doesn't have that taper. He doesn't have the shoulder caps. He doesn't have that crazy waist, So you can still win, You can for sure still win,
I think also for turning pro, they sometimes judge a little bit on potential.
Yeah.
So they be like, this guy might be he might have a big future. On this day, technically, the other guy could win when it comes to all the criteria because he has more muscle mass and he might be more chiseled. But the other guy, give him a year and he wins pro shows, we got to pick him. So I feel sometimes obviously they're never going to say they will, but I kind of a feeling they do. Looks like it.
Oh, yeah. It happened. It happened at Nationals with Trevor Birch. I mean, he had more potential than Wyatt, I would say. Wyatt was fucking 255, 260, shredded to the bone. But you look at Trevor, you're like, he's a light heavyweight, but he looks like he has that Derek Lunsford looking shape going on with the vacuum and then a crazy taper. And you're like, you know what? This guy's probably going to go further. You don't know for sure, but that's what. So I think Trevor won on potential. I don't want to say it like that because he bought a crib. He bought a very complete package. But I think partially
on structure.
Well, yeah, exactly. He went on structure for sure. Because Wyatt was huge and shredded, you know what I'm saying? So that's one of those things. Or even when Lunsford won the USA's, Lunsford was by far not the biggest or hardest guy in that lineup. But he did have the best structure, you know?
Dude,
you know?
I rewatched his first pro win at Tampa.
Even then.
He was like nowhere close shredded to be shredded. Like if you can win a pro show at like 82%, Jesus Christ, you have potential. Like other guys, they have to be 100%. Unless they're never even top 3. This guy shows up at 82% and wins. I'm like, oh,
still wins. That's wild. That tells you a lot, bro. Derek Lunsford has only done one pro show outside the Olympia, and that was 212.
Yeah,
he's never done an open show ever.
That's crazy, isn't it? That he's been able to do that. That will never happen again.
Bro, there's no chance that can happen.
That's crazy,
bro. Yeah. He's the only Olympia winner who's never won an open pro show. And he's the only Olympia winner to win 212 and open. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Every show is Olympia. He hasn't even done Arnold. Just Olympia.
I don't think
Olympia.
I don't think he's going to win again. I don't think he's going to win again.
Who have you got?
I love him, but he's a nervous guy. I love him, but I think being the champ, he will have nerves. So I think he might not nail his conditioning. You know, not because he can't, but I think as we mentioned before, we were running. It was running. You can be in shape all you want. If you have crazy nerves at 84, you're gonna be a little watery. It's just gonna happen. And I just don't know. Like I wish him all the best. You know, I know the guy since no one knew him. I trained with him at the FIBO 2017. I talked to him like 3 hours at the booth. No one knew him. It was awesome. Yeah. And nice guy, super nice guy, good guy.
It always sticks with you when guys are, especially pros, are really nice to you in person, especially when you're no one to them, you know? It really sticks out. Like I remember, like I have some experiences like Flex Lewis sticks out. Super nice guy, gave me all the time in the world when, well, I'm still no one, but when I was even younger and just some young dumb kid. You know, him. You've got like Roman Fritz. He was super nice when I met him at the Olympia. You know, you got a whole bunch of people. I met some Baidi guy, but he's an asshole. But outside of that, pretty much had all good experiences. You know?
No, dude. Yeah.
When I met Arash Rabar, I trained at Best Gym for like half a year in 2019. So I hadn't turned pro, and I put on some size till I turned pro, and he was so nice. I asked him to train with me if he wanted to train. He said yes. Then he sent me an Uber from the train station and paid for it. Like,
wow.
Like who? Like which classic physique guy? I wouldn't even do it. I wouldn't probably even do it. Like some kid asking me to train with them. Like what? Like I don't remember how oftentimes we saw each other before, but I was like, whoa, like crazy. Yeah. And I still won't forget this. So, and I've been rewatching videos of his because I want to get him on the podcast soon. He moved to California here, and it's so funny. Like I see it like 7-8 years ago what he says about training, and I'm like, dude, like did I take everything from him and just repeated it? He tells it second, like me nowadays. I'm like, what the hell? Did I come up with nothing? And then like
subconsciously influenced you.
Yeah, the crazy, like almost everything. Like at least I found something where I'm like, that's a little different. Jesus, thank God. But it's like the guy, like you can watch 8-year-old videos. It's like, and he's so reflected. He says like like things no one said 8 years ago, like how it doesn't really matter how heavy you train, like what the scientist guys now say, like unless you go to failure, you can grow in almost every rep range and stuff, like way beyond everyone back then. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That to me is more important than what you do as a bodybuilder. Like the kind of man you are is always going to be more important. So things like that stick out to me. Like when I meet any pro I met when, at a time where maybe I wasn't this big or like nobody knew me. Not that a lot of people know me, but just in general, like when it is different if you're 300 pounds, people are going to treat you one way, right? But before then, how did they treat you back then? And how do they treat people around them? So a lot of times, even if you're nice to me, I'll pay attention to how you treat everybody else. And that's important to me. At the end of the day, if you're a piece of shit, I don't care how good of a bodybuilder you are. I could care less. It means no difference to me. Same with like the podcast. The guests I have on, I have to respect them as men first and foremost. That's the most important part to me. And everybody I've had on, I respect them as men. If I don't, then I could care less how you place in the show. It means nothing. Because at the end of the day, 10, 20 years from now, you're just going to be a piece of shit with no muscles. So, at that point, nobody, if you're still around, exactly, so nobody cares. It only matters to me if you're a decent human being. You don't have to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. But you got to be a decent human being. And I've been lucky to have good interactions with a lot of good pros, Yeah, I met a couple of dicks, but they weren't that good of a pros to begin with. It's funny because the biggest heads sometimes are the people who don't deserve to have a big head. It's funny how that works.
It's funny, man. Like it's a lot of the time it is the guys that think they're a lot better than they are, that they'll have a really big head. You know what I mean? Like, notice it.
Yeah.
But let's get on to some bodybuilding topics and a few things that have been going on. And I don't know if you guys saw, Cbum has a baby.
Yeah.
I saw it. He must have had it maybe a few weeks ago, but he just announced it, I think, right? She was due for a while.
I didn't check the exact date.
No. It says April 22nd it was born.
Oh, so it's pretty new.
I like the name too. So Bradley Shea Bumstead, so it can be like BB. So he thought about the
brand. Ah, smart.
B-Bum. BS Bum.
Yeah,
BS Bum.
Why doesn't he take the last name King? I mean, that's pretty cool.
King, Bradley King.
He should take Courtney's name. Chris too, like Chris King. What's up? 5 times Mr Olympia. King.
Abbreviate it. Bum
Bradley. Bum King.
The king of the bums.
Bradley King Bumstead would have been cool too.
Man, I like the date. Yeah, Bradley King Bumstead. That's cool. So, Cbum, we're just letting you know you might need to change the name of your baby. But look at the date it was born on, man. 4/22/24. Like, it just even looks cool. Like, you just know Cbum's going to have that baby on the right date,
But
prophetic.
It's a girl.
Very, very prophetic.
Yeah.
It's a girl, right?
Yeah.
Is it?
Bikini class.
I think so.
Oh, I got to change rooms. Yes.
Yeah, we love you, baby girl. Yeah, it's a girl.
You got.
Oh, it's a girl. Oh, my bad.
Okay. I thought it was gonna be a boy for some reason too.
Yeah, I thought Bradley. It was a boy. My bad. I feel like an asshole now.
No.
I'll unmute me. Yeah. Can I unmute him? Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Cbum's had a girl. My bad.
Yeah.
She didn't let me.
I thought you were gonna have a boy.
The next wellness girl.
If it me, have you guys noticed that every bodybuilder has a girl? Every single one. What's up with that?
No, they always say that you're more likely to get girl when you're the juice head. I don't know why. Maybe it changes.
I've had a boy and a girl. So I've had one of each. But I will tell you one thing. There's a supplement. I can't remember what the active ingredient is that is thought to do it. I don't even know if the guy who formulates it knows exactly which one. But it's like a test booster, and it's meant to help a little bit with fertility and things like that. And he's recommended recommended it to a ton of people, and almost everyone that takes this has a boy. He's only like known as like one girl. I don't know what the active ingredient is. It was a product by ATP Science. It was called Alpha Male. But when I took it, I had a boy. And then the next time I wasn't taking it, I did have a girl. So I'm like, oh, like it matches up, because I knew this before I had kids as well. So I'm like,
I'm going to get this and not tell my wife, man.
Yeah. Do it. Change your future. Leo,
yes, bro.
I single-handedly changed the future of your life and saved you so many issues with having a teenage girl.
Thank you, man. Yeah, so many issues. You have to beat up so many boys.
Yeah.
So now
that's going to be tough, man.
That's what I'm worried about with my daughter, man. That's what I'm worried about.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it now, and she's 3. So.
Yeah, you have to just scare her of like STDs. Like, really common. Like, you can kiss someone and it's like, could happen.
Check out these boils. This can be you. Watch yourself.
It's like teenagers make really dumb decisions, but them being, but girl decisions are almost like so much more important. I feel because they're out of danger, right? When it comes to
their body can get pregnant.
Exactly, man. And there's that disadvantage that you're scared this guy is going to take advantage and do this, It's just a bigger fear. It's just a bigger fear to me. And their safety. They're out with their friends. They're drunk. You know what I'm saying? Like, can they protect themselves? There's just so much to think about that.
Yeah, can you take advantage of them? All that stuff. Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
I'm going to be a super, like when my daughter gets to that age where she's going out, I'm going to be that dad, like my phone, it's on Do Not Disturb, but it's got your number, like that thing where the number overrides. So I'm like, you call me when you're out, I will pick you up. Like, I just want to make sure that she never gets like stuck somewhere. I'll be super like, I want to be a cool dad, but I'm still going to be a dad, when I'm that age.
I know what you mean.
Strict enough, but I'm like, you got to have that relationship with them. Otherwise they rebel anyway. You know what I mean?
Boom.
You
said it.
You figure it out along the way, and if you raise them right, it's very unlikely that they're going to be stupid.
One of my friends at the gym, he had a boy and a girl, right? So he's like, it's very different. Like, he hates when people who don't have kids be like, no, you got to treat them the same. He's like, you're not a parent. You don't get it. It's very different, a boy and a girl. He's like, when it comes to his boy, he doesn't want to be necessarily like a friend to him. He wants to make sure, I'm your dad, you're my son. He said with the girl, when you try to do it that way, they don't share anything with you. And then it becomes more dangerous because they almost like hate you and don't want you to know anything. He's like, with his girl, he makes sure she feels super comfortable with him enough to tell him all the secrets that she wouldn't tell him. So he doesn't have that class. So she sees him almost like he's her dad, but like her confidant. Like, she trusts him. You know what I'm saying? So you don't create that relation, like, because honestly, was like, I'm scared. I don't want this girl to get in trouble. So then you're going to be like the overbearing dad. And that makes it so much worse because now the girl is like, I don't want my dad to know anything. So I'm going to hide everything. I'm going to do it anyways. And I'm going to fuck up even worse because I have no advice, So he was
I think your kids won't start hiding things from you. They will stop. They will stop telling you things.
I know what you mean.
Because you react wrong. So if you react correctly from the start, it'll be good. And you also have to show them contrast. So a lot of parents have a real big problem to say no. And they're like, oh, I want my child to love me. But it's, and then your child only loves you when they know it's genuine. If you say yes to everything, it's not going to happen. They just got to trample around on you and do whatever they want. But if you're strict and then like on some rare occasions you give in and you like, yes, today we can do this or whatever, they will love you so much more. And you have a way more chill life because you don't have to deal with all the crying and all that stuff because you have the strict rules and they're going to thank you so much. You have to play the long-term game. And so many parents are so bad at it. They ask their kids, they're like 2 years old, what do you want to eat? I'm like, bro, there's the food. Eat your shit up. And you don't have three chances. You have 3 meals a day. And if you don't eat up, you can cry about it, but I won't give you any. And then oh, it's 3 times a day I have the chance. And then you eat up. Then you don't you just be strict for a little and you chill your whole life. Or you never be strict and you have the shit till they're 20.
Yeah.
That's my stance.
I mean, and it sounds like becoming a parent is so like intimidating. But as long as like a few things Larry said, it's like, you need to be strict to a point, like you can maybe let them get away with something here and there, but it has to be rare. Like you can't be giving them like, if they complain and say, oh, I want to go out no matter what, and then you just give in to them every time or give in to them half the time. Yeah. They know this is no slight against my mum, but I knew I could get it when I was a kid. I knew if I just persisted on something, if I just I remember once, I really badly wanted a PlayStation and an NBA game. And I was dying to play because I played at my friend's house. I'm like, this is the funnest thing ever. It was like school holidays. And I'm like, Mum, can I get my Christmas present early or birthday present or whatever? And she's like, no. And I'm like, and then as soon as she went, I'll ask your dad, I knew I had it. At that point, I'm like, come on, what difference does it make? I'm like, you literally are about to buy it this weekend, so why don't I just have it? I just talked them into it. I knew I could get them, but I don't want my kids to have too much of that. They might complain a bit or whatever, and my kids even do it now. They say I can hear them go oh, I want this, I want this, I want this, and you're like, no, Carlo, no. He might cry 30 seconds, and then I'm like, he'll get distracted and move on. It's like, as a parent, you have to. So some parents can't even take that. It just annoys them too much, a kid crying. Be like, I have it every time. And I'm like, that drives me nuts because it makes the kids feel entitled. It just teaches them all the wrong lessons. If my parents, don't get me wrong, they wouldn't just agree to everything and be like, oh, whatever, and not care. But there's a few things, like if I persisted about something and I was a persistent kid, I knew eventually I'd probably get a decent chance.
If a kid knows that every time I cry, I get what I want, they're just going to continue to cry. Yeah. So that's enabling bad behavior. And you're going to learn your kids over time because everybody's different, man. I don't know what makes you that way. Some people believe you're born a certain way. I think to a point, your brain chemistry is different, right? Some people they get angry a little faster. They get sad a little faster, depressed a little faster. I think part of that is genetic. I think there's some brain genetics, but a lot of things is learned. My older brother, anything my parents told him, he would listen. There would never be you tell him to do anything, he'll just do it. You don't got to worry about that kid. You just tell him what to do, he does it. I was the kind of kid that they had to make some kind of sense, and you can say, well, you're a kid. It doesn't have to make sense. I'm a parent, but I'm still a human being. I'm still a human being, right? So I'm going to have some emotions. So if you tell me, I'm like, hey, Cacao, I want to go play basketball. No, you can't go. I'm like, why? Because I said so. I'm like, I understand he said so, but is there a reason? Are you scared I'm going to get beat up? Like, what is it? So we can come out with a solution. No, you just can't go. And that's when it becomes a thing. Because now I'm like, I'm trying to get some exercise and get better at a craft that can help me on the basketball team. And you're just saying no because you're in a bad mood. Now you're being a bad parent because you're letting your emotion, so, but they don't like that because they know you're right, but it's okay to admit, so why can't we have the conversation about, you know what, you're right, go play basketball. Just because you're a parent, don't try to do those kind of things with no sense and regard. Try to have some reason. So if you're being a parent and you're being honest, with a kid like me, it's going to come across right. Cause I'm like, okay, there's a reason. I get it. That makes sense. But if you're just in a bad mood and you want to spread your bad mood, that's very immature. And now you're being the kid. I'm being the parent. So you don't want to, so learn your kids about, okay, this kid is going to push it. I still have to stand my ground because I'm the parent, but I got to be more careful because he's getting to an age where he's smart enough to understand that what's going on. So you want to be
I had that a lot. I had that a lot of friends of mine when I was at their place, and they had arguments with their parents, and their parents would say no to stuff. I'm like, what?
Well, what's the point? Why no to that?
And they would argue, start arguing with their parents, and I'm like, these parents, some parents are just not the brightest.
Some people aren't the brightest, and people become parents, and it's like, you got some people that are assholes. It's like, that's why, you hear so many stories. I know so many people that have, I think about, my close friends that I went to school with, most of their parents pretty good. I've got to be honest. But then I think about people I've met since school. man, I look at so many of them and their parents and maybe the way they grew up, or their dad used to hit them, or their mum calls them a bitch all the time, or, you know, whatever, like, you know, or like, oh, you're not my son, you're not my daughter. It's like stuff like that. It's like, that is some pretty bad shit, but it's common, man. Like it's sort of common.
It's so interesting that it doesn't, like, a lot of times you would think, oh, these are intelligent people, they should be able to raise a kid. Dude, like, the most intelligent people can be so, like, irrational about how to raise a child. And I think it's just more about being a little rational and strict and play a long-term game. Because some people are so emotional, even though they're intelligent, and the most intelligent people raise, like, the weirdest, like, impolite assholes.
Man, I can't handle it like kids.
Yeah, this is your dad. He's like such a genius, and you're such a, you know, like, how did that happen? Like, what? Your dad's like a Nobel Prize guy, and you're just a prick. It's just, like, it shouldn't happen, you think.
And a lot of the time it's the parent's fault. Like, the kid will walk in and the parents won't even say, like, hey, like, say please or say thank you, you know, like, you know, say bye. They'll just let the kid just walk out of someone's house and just not say anything and just get in the car. It's like, oh, that's sort of rude.
Oh yeah, don't do that. Or if your child is jumping around kicking people, don't just let him do that. Like, you know, show some. Oh my God, that shit is so annoying, you know. But my friend, my friend at the gym was talking about transparency. Like, there's a certain level of honesty that some parents think this, like, okay, see, oh, don't lose your virginity. See, I didn't lose my virginity till I was 22, knowing damn well you lost it at 14, right? Instead of doing that, or I've never smoked weed or done coke. How about you treat them maybe a little mature, like, listen, I lost my virginity at 16, but this is why you shouldn't, because it was the wrong move. I didn't love this guy or this, you know what I'm saying? Like, give an explanation why it's bad instead of trying to act like you're the holier than thou. They know you're not that holy. You know, you're not fooling them. So instead of just saying, no, see, me, I've never smoked weed. I've never done cocaine. I didn't lose my virginity till I got married to your dad. It's like, yeah, okay. You know what I'm saying? So maybe explain to them, I've been there. You don't want to go down that road. I fucking sold drugs and this, you know, and then you got to be careful what age you told them that, though.
Yeah, because you can't normalize it too early as well. So it's one of those things where
not too early.
You have to almost put a bit of fear in there, because if you have a kid that doesn't fear authority, that's the thing, man. I've seen it, you know, like, I've seen kids that don't fear authority, and it's like, oh, that's scary, because you don't give a shit about going to jail. You don't give a shit about, you know, saying whatever to a cop, or you can get yourself in serious trouble, where they can do that at a young age and then it affects them forever. Like, and then, you know, being in Australia, if you get a criminal record or some sort of bad criminal record, it's like, good luck going to a lot of countries, you know, good luck going to the US. So, like, I know there's guys in Australia that, you know, would want to go and compete in the US that can't, you know, literally can't.
Exactly.
It's like, that could ruin your career.
When I would hear stories about, like, my dad when he was younger, it made me respect him more, because I found him more relatable. Whereas before, I'm like, you know, you think your parents aren't cool. You think they're fucking geeks, nerds. I don't know. I just thought he was an uncool guy. And I'm like, really? He was like that? I'm like, wow, that's so cool. So now when he tells me something, I'm like, you know what? He kind of lived that life. He knows what he's talking about. He's not just dad anymore. He's like, wow, he was a young man before who went through some of the similar things I'm going through. And it made me actually look up to him more, instead of like, this is a nerdy old guy. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes being transparent at the right time, and you don't got to tell them everything. Don't tell them, you don't got to tell them too much, but just enough that they understand that I was young once. I did some stupid shit too, but now I'm smarter, and I'm telling you this from experience, not just because I don't want you to enjoy your life, you know. And it feels better that way. But my dad was a lot more transparent than my mom, I felt like, in that way. And, you know, I still respected my mom, obviously, but she just made herself so unrelatable that it was like, I don't want to talk to her about something. You know what I'm saying? So it's a balance, man. There's no rule book to being a parent. You know, I'm sure it's hard. I mean, Xavier, you're a parent. I'm sure you learn as you go. You know,
There's no rule book. And man, the thing is, you realize you're not always going to be perfect. Like, you're not always going to be able to do everything perfect. You can't be 100% I'm excelling as a parent. I'm excelling in business perfectly. I'm excelling in bodybuilding. I'm excelling in like, you're going to have to like, there's going to be give and take, there's going to be times where I have to work a bit more, where I might have to say to my kids like, hey, you guys watch a movie or whatever, like as much as I want to be with them all the time, there might be times where it's like, hey, like I have this commitment or whatever, where I can't do something or whatever. But I'm someone who is pretty committed to that, where I want to be at every sporting event. I want to be really prioritize all that stuff a huge amount. But yeah, you're not always going to be perfect. Like, yeah, sometimes your kids are going to eat some shit food, before dinner or something, like once every like 3 months or whatever, or something's going to happen. So it's like, yeah, you got to realize and not expect yourself to be perfect. Because if you start doing that as a parent and stressing about being perfect, it's like, you're just not going to be. But you figure it out, man. You figure it out.
That's a big problem when parents are separated, when they compete with each other, and then they're both not strict because they both want the child to love them, and then the child's totally fucked up and spoiled, and it goes bad.
I ain't having it.
Most dads are a little better at this than moms, but with all due respect, moms gotta do a better job than telling these kids about how their dad is bad and how he cheated on them and did it. That's grown people business. Your relationship is your relationship.
It goes both ways. Guys do it to women, women do it to guys, and man, there's a lot of that shit. Like, I will probably say, if I had to guess, but obviously most of the stories I've been told, talking to people and stuff over my lifetime, most of it's been from guys saying about women doing certain things with their kids and stuff. So we probably have a slightly biased view. If you speak to a lot of women, but people lie on both sides too. Like, I'm sure I've been told a story by a guy saying like, oh yeah, she's done this, but he's missing out 3 stories about how he went and broke down the door and took the kids one time. It's like, so it goes.
I don't like that. Sure. I think that's very immature, man. I'm talking about being transparent as far as life and experiences, but your relationship is your relationship. You don't have to air out your relationship, your sex life, and all this shit to your kids. Like, what the fuck they got to do with the kids? Just leave. Let the kids be kids. You handle it as adults. You should have none good to say. I mean, okay, if their mom or dad is a crackhead and fucking is killing people or some shit, that's fucking different, But if mom's bad, yeah, you can say that then. But if you've made some bad decisions here and there, you don't have to air it out to the kids. Leave that alone. You don't want kids having that dynamic in their head, thinking their mom or dad is this evil person just because your relationship didn't work out. Some people aren't compatible. It is what it is. You don't have to pass that on to the kids, But to bring it full circle back to bodybuilding, do you guys think?
That's wondering how we get back. Desktop parenting.
Do you? Desktop parenting. No. Do you guys think it's responsible as a bodybuilder in their prime? Let's say like Nick Walker right now, 29 years old in his prime, to have kids and still pursue bodybuilding at the highest level. Is that fair to the kids, his wife, and his career?
If the environment, if it's, look at Derek Lunsford and Brett Wilkin, who's recently had kids, and Regan Grimes going to be a father. There's a whole bunch. So you have to have the right dynamic. Like, if you're going to be a top pro, top 5 in the Olympia, you're going to need the mother at certain stages, especially of the year, to really step up as a mum, or you're going to have a very supportive family network as well. And I think you can still spend plenty of time with the child if your full-time job is bodybuilding. Like, if your full-time job is bodybuilding, yeah, you got to get your meals in, but if you treat that like a job and become efficient at it, I think you can still do the parenting. Like, I don't think he's asking from a time standpoint. You're rather because of health, right? Oh, really?
Well, okay. So let me ask you like this. So aside from the mom or babysitters or nannies, do you think you can be the best bodybuilder possible and the best dad possible at the same time? Not just getting the job done, but do you think you can be the best at those both things from every standpoint, from health, longevity, how long you live, how much time you spend with your kids, how much you can give to bodybuilding, just being both at the highest level, 100%. Is it possible? You think it's possible to do both?
It depends on your wife a lot too, what she does. And I mean, you have to earn money, and also it's like, what other job like involves even more time or more selfishness that you're going to tell everyone to retire now So, I mean, if that's your job, that's your job. Like, and like, there's a bunch of bodybuilders who are dads and won the Olympia. So maybe they had an extra 10% of genetics. I don't know. But I don't think that their children hate them now. So I would say it's definitely, I would say it's possible. It's possible. Yeah.
And everyone's different as well in terms of, like, if you say, like, can you be your, like, the best dad, you know, while being the best bodybuilder you can be? It's like, what's the best dad? Like, some might say that showing your son or daughter that, hey, look, I'm excelling at this level. Like, I look at Brandon Curry, like, he won an Olympia, and I look at his kids looking up to him, and they're like, this is possible, you know? And they're in American football now, and they're like, my dad got to being the best in the world in his field. It's like, I can make it to the NFL, you know? And you got your dad saying, yeah, you can do it, you can do it. It's like, that's a huge example. And you might say bodybuilding isn't necessarily the best example, and your child might get into bodybuilding, and then, like, comes with its own worries, you know? But I think if you instill the right, you know, everything right in them, then they're going to generally make better decisions. So it's like, that's all you can do is lead them in that way. And like Leo said as well, time-wise, it's like, what other job are you going to do? It's like, I remember I had a job where I traveled an hour and 10 minutes to work. I'd be there for about 9 hours, maybe a bit longer, sometimes 10, drive an hour to the gym and train as quick as possible, like 45 to an hour, and then drive half an hour home. It's like, that day, I had no kids then. That was like, I had 15 minutes to myself after I get my meals and stuff ready for the next day, or like, just, you know, make sure I've got everything ready because I prep on the weekend. And it's just, I had no time. Right, I wouldn't be able to have a kid in that situation with all that travel as well. So it's like, you know, sometimes a pro bodybuilder, you might have more time through the day, and you're like, hey, I'm home with my kid when they're a baby. You know, it's like, that's a benefit.
You know what? This is actually the first time I had this conversation, and I actually see it that way now.
You want a baby, huh?
I think I actually see it, what you're trying, because we had a conversation on our podcast, and I wasn't convinced that way. But now, because now I'm thinking, before I was bodybuilding to this extent, I was working 9 to 5 and then training people on the side and then bouncing at night. So I had no time for a family.
Be a dad.
Where I've been home all day today. All I got to do today, I got one client, and then I'm going to work out. But I've been home from 9 to 5, right? So this would be the best case scenario. Now, that being said, 6 weeks out, this is when the mom is going to have to step up, because I'll be home, but my brain isn't home, you know. Yeah. But unless I'm being a dick, the kids won't even notice. If your energy is low and you're like, good job, son, I don't think the kid is like, hey, dad, show me some more emotion. They don't give a fuck. Your wife probably cares more about that than the kid. The kids, they're like, oh, dad is just...
Your kids are like, dad, watch me jump on the trampoline. All you got to do is be looking, you know? All you got to do is be like, whoa. Well, you can fake it, man. You can fake it. I've been tired as hell before. Like, after, like, my kids have woken up at like 5 a.m. and like I went to bed at like 1 a.m. I'm like, okay, so I'm on 4 hours. Last night was 5, and I'm like, shit. And then my kids are like, Dad, watch me like do this flip off the bed. And I'm like, okay. Whoa, that's crazy. Just lift them back up and just entertain them for a bit, and it's like they're happy. You know, they'll get bored of it as well. You know, eventually.
Most dads see their kids from like, they wake up, maybe see their kids for 30 minutes before they go to work, and they'll come home at like 6 and see their kids till like 8. So most dads are seeing their kids like 3 hours a day. So if anything, we're probably going to see our kids. Yeah. Now, I'll hear the thing. Is it possible to be the best dad and the best bodybuilder at the same time? I think it's possible. But possible doesn't mean you will, because let's be real, most dads aren't the best dads they can be, period, regardless of what job they work. Are most moms the best moms possible? Let's be real. In 2024, most people are probably like at 50%. Like they're just getting by as a decent mom or dad. So I don't even think it's about the job. I think it's about, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Obviously, if Brett and C, yeah. If Brett and Cbum, if Regan and Cbum and Brett are having babies, it's because they want to be a dad. And if you want to be a dad that bad enough to have it right now, you're probably going to be a good dad, right? Because, you know, you want it that bad, you know. Now, if one of us, yeah. So I'm going to assume they're going to be pretty good dads because they're willing to take on the responsibility. But that goes for any job. If you're in the NBA, fucking, you're on the road, you got 82 games? You're on the road 41 times?
41 in a regular season?
Yeah. Does that mean LeBron is a bad dad? I don't know. Does LeBron want to be a good dad? It's the basketball is irrelevant. Do you want to be a good dad, LeBron? Yes.
I don't think he can be a good dad. Period. Well, that's another thing.
He's gonna tell them it's just basketball. He lost the game. He lost the playoff game. Oh, it's just basketball. I'm like, did he just say it's just basketball?
Best thing, but we're stays away.
Bro, have you seen all those the AI fakes of LeBron lately?
No, I haven't seen.
Oh man, they're so funny. I'll quickly pull one up.
Imagine
I literally have some from my friends right now. They're fucking. Say what you were gonna say,
bro. Imagine if Hadi loses the Olympia or Derek, and they're like, it's just bodybuilding. Who cares? We'd be like, get the man off the fucking stage. Get out of here. Like, if you don't want to win bad enough that you can say it's just basketball, go home. I'm sorry. Go home. Yeah. You think Jordan would ever be like, Kobe? Just basketball. Kobe was up 3-0. And they're like, why you don't look happy? He said, it's not over. We didn't win the series. They're like, you should be happy. He said, job now finished. Job finished. And then he walked the fuck off. That's how you go about winning the fucking sport, you know. But to each his own, I guess.
One thing that Eric Janicki said on my podcast, which I think is very important when you think about quitting whatever you do for your children, you might always look at them in the aftermath and be like, you're the reason I quit my dream. And you never want to do that. So, if you look at your children and be like, you motherfuckers, because of you guys, I didn't pursue my dream. Could have been Mr. Olympia without you guys. So you rather, stay at it. You'd probably be a better father being happy with what you do than blame your failed life on your children. So that's also an important thing to consider.
Oh, he got 2 kids. Yeah, Janicki has 2 kids. I forgot. I completely forgot.
Twins, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing a lot. He's doing a lot. He has a lot going on. So, but he's just, I think he's a great dad. You know.
Yeah. And nowadays, it's like the good thing for bodybuilders, like a Cbum or so, he doesn't have to travel all the time with the internet. In the 90s, you couldn't stay home. Like Lee Priest or whatever, the European tour and whatever, they had to appear at certain places, being under contract with Joe Weider and stuff. Nowadays, you'd be like, I can stay home and do a lot. You don't have to show up everywhere. So that's also, you can do it. You can definitely do it. You do it, but
I feel like we're changing the world. I feel like some bodybuilder is going to be convinced to have a baby from this, or just not use protection.
Yeah. But then you have to get a discount code on the supplement.
Yeah, true. So we're breeding bodybuilders right now. We might have the next Mr. Olympia because of this podcast, Just
right, yeah.
Or you bring out the supplement yourself.
Yeah, true.
Boys be boys.
Yeah.
Oyster man.
Usually people only blame something because they fail. That's the only time, right? Like Ronnie and Lee Haney won all these Olympias with children. But if somebody had children and failed, they would be like, it's the kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know who I see doing that? I don't know the guy personally, so I'm not talking shit, but I'm seeing that with Cali Muscle. Like, he was gung-ho bodybuilding, then he couldn't excel to a certain point, and then now he's like, you guys are all losers and weirdos, and it's like, bro, you literally did the same shit we did, but you started losing and you couldn't move up, so now all of a sudden it's evil.
I don't know what Cali says for cleats.
No, it's because there's sodium in water. He found out too late. That's the actual reason. Did you see that video?
No, I haven't. It sounds like something you'd say.
Oh, you haven't seen it? He goes, that's hilarious. He goes to Walmart or whatever grocery store, and he picks up a water, and he's like, there's sodium in this water. Like, you shouldn't be drinking that, because that's why I was like always spilling over, like the sodium in the water.
How much sodium
in this? How much sodium in this water?
How much
I
sodium?
thought it was like added, and they're naturally, so water has no sodium, like 5 milligrams per whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
He doesn't.
He's
He's not aware.
amount.
it's like, can you know that it contains sodium? Like, there's electrolytes in water. Like, he probably starts buying distilled water now and drinks this.
I don't.
So ridiculous.
I don't like the bitterness. I hate the bitterness. You know, I saw a video Louis Marco posted of some guy who's talking all this shit about, oh, look what bodybuilding did to my body. I'm like, your dumbass did that shit to your own body.
Yeah,
like, what the fuck are you?
You're one who shot Simpo. You know, someone will do something stupid like that. They're not even a pro bodybuilder, and then you see an article on it or a video, and it's got like all hundreds of thousands of views. I'm like, that's good for bodybuilding.
This guy in this video had like full blown titties. He's like, oh, my test level is like at a 10, and then look, I'm like, why that at a 10? Why are you not on TRT? Why are you not on HCG? What? You just leave it at 10 just to complain about it. It's like, it sounds so stupid.
Fun.
Why do you have boobs? Why the fuck do you did that to yourself? So stop blaming the sport for you being a dumbass. Straight up, you know.
Exactly.
Or it's weird. Or I remember the girls kept hiring what's that coach that coaches the girls?
Oh,
you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who. Older guy, right?
Yeah, you know him, Leo. The one that he had a couple of girls.
There's so many. I don't know. There's so many.
He had a couple of girls get like hurt. He had a couple of girls pass away, actually.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Shelby Starnes.
Shelby Starnes.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of these girls are going to him knowing this information, but they're like, fuck it, the girls look good. And then they get with him, and something happens, and they start talking shit about him. And it's like, but you literally went to him. They already knew all the information. There's a bunch of YouTube videos. Yeah, Ron Harris got a bunch of interviews. It's all over the place. Everybody knows this. So if you go to him knowing that this is possible, and if something happens, you lose the right to go complain about it because you purposely went to him. So things like that, you gotta take responsibility for your own actions. Every single one of us. If something happens right now, we did it to ourselves. Nobody made us do anything, you know. And no, the IFBB, they don't owe you anything. They don't owe you. No, you have to give me free medical. They don't have to give you shit. They're not telling you to do anything. You're choosing to do it. So that's on you. I'm sorry. You know,
100%. Yeah.
It's crazy how in these like other sports now, people they're trying to sue the federations, and it's like you're playing football. It's like you getting hit in the head. It's like, yeah, shit can happen, you know. Like, you're boxing, you're literally punching each other in the face. It's like, are you going to try to sue the federation?
Who is suing like the NFL?
In Australia, it's happening in the AFL. Yeah. So they're now, like, it's like we've caught onto the brain injury stuff. Like we've got it from the US now. So now we're saying CTE, and now a bunch of the former AFL players are trying to sue the AFL for all this money because they're, you know, I think it's a real thing. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think it's a real thing that people have these brain issues, and there's been a few suicides of former AFL players and stuff, but it seems like it more than normal, and some of them did have like a lot of concussions. So I think it can be a thing, but I think a lot of them that are going after the money, it's actually not a thing. They're like, yeah, they're like 75 years old. They're like, oh, I feel tired. I forget things. Like, it's like 75, dude.
Well, it's this victimhood mentality that gets rewarded all the time, and they're actually a victim of their own stupidity.
Yeah.
What do you want the NFL to do, right? They've already made the rules a lot softer than they used to be, right? There's Americans who want football canceled, just completely canceled. And it's like, nobody's forcing anybody to do anything, bro. You don't have to. Don't put your kids in football. You don't have to. But it's usually people who don't have kids anyways, so it's irrelevant. But it's like, you don't have to play the game. You know, anybody who's playing the game, they understand what it entails. You don't have to be in the UFC. You know, at one point, New York had banned the UFC. It's like, well, they're just gonna go beat the shit out of each other in Jersey. What's the fucking difference? It's
banned in the state of Victoria. I think they probably just don't want any responsibility if someone dies. They don't want to get sued. They don't want any sort of thing like, oh, but we said the event can happen here, and now this person's died.
Negative space. Hey, to be honest, you will probably make more money if you go to Madison Square Garden and somebody dies right in the middle of the ring. You're probably gonna have more people fucking tune in. Like, unfortunately,
they have all insurance. They have all insurance.
They for sure. Yeah. because that can happen. But it's part of. We don't want to see anybody die at all. But I think everybody understands that these are men beating the shit out of each other. It's possible. It is possible. So
yeah,
that's the.
And that's right. They all have insurance, and it's probably more like the wokies in the more. Well, you guys live in one of the more woke sort of, I guess, areas of the US. So it's like, yeah, I guess New York, the state of New York, is sort of the same sort of deal, really.
Yeah.
Now
they
the weird thing is
protect people from themselves. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's funny though, because living in California, I never actually meet people or talk to people who feel this way. But I'm also not surrounded. I guess I'm surrounded by like people at the gym are usually not that kind of people. You know what I'm saying? So it's probably just
you're not hanging out with you're not hanging out with hospital workers. You're not hanging out with politicians. You're not hanging out with like you know, the people like the sort of like, you know, you got that sort of like ritzy crew of LA that you sort of like think of when you think of like, for sure, like selling sunsets and shit like
I'm
that.
In contact, I'm in contact with some of those people. Some of those people go to Gold's Gym. Some of those people.
It's funny. Some of those people are a closet leaning right. Closet leaning right. And around their friends, they go, yeah. Oh, Trump.
Of course.
No, Biden.
So my ex is an actor.
A little old, but it's fine. It's fine.
My ex is an actor, right? So in Hollywood, everybody's liberal in public, right? But that being said, you know damn well every fucking actor in the world isn't fucking liberal. They have to pretend to be, or like the athletes. You know damn well the world is split in half. It's about 50-50. So you know damn well 100% of athletes and actors and everybody on social media isn't liberal. Like I think we all know that, but they have to pretend. I mean, I'm not gonna really judge you for pretending to make a living because I know you're trying to feed your family, but I don't think anybody should have that much power. Nobody should have that much power. Everybody should be able to say, you know, what they want and believe what they want without feeling like they're gonna lose their fucking job. You know, think about it.
I would lose my job. I would lose my job.
Yes,
I'm so bad at it. I'm so bad at it. I couldn't do it. I just can't watch bullshit. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
But I would be more careful for sure. But if someone asked me, I couldn't lie to them. But I wouldn't go out and protest. Maybe, you know, people are always fast to say like, oh, I would never do that. But earn a few million a year and then be like, you know, if I say that now,
that's what I'm saying.
To zero. So and also, you know, you might the best thing is to have the plan to get so rich that you have fuck you money, so you can't start saying shit. But like The Rock right now, you should start talking. This guy is
he has said that he's not supporting Biden next time. That's what he said.
Oh, do you know why he said that? Because that lost him so many fans that he realized he should just shut up. Because he's not saying, "Oh, I'm supporting this one this year," or like
you saw the comments when he supported Biden. You saw the comments in the post. Yeah. I read through a ton of them, and I don't think I saw one positive. Like it was live.
No. He's just.
I'm gonna tell you this.
Thinking about himself.
100%. But I will say this: anybody who's been following The Rock for a long time and seen his group of friends and everybody he rolls with, The Rock is not liberal. He's not liberal. The Rock is not liberal,
but that's even worse.
I don't believe that.
It's even worse.
I guess, I guess in some way
he's lying. Yeah.
But then he's also the highest paid actor. Yeah, he has to. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he don't have to do anything.
No, he has so much money, he doesn't have to. He's selling an energy drink. Republicans could buy that too. You know, it's 50%. Like now, like a bunch of Trump fans won't buy his Zoa. They'll like, I'll stick to Red Bull.
That's where he fucked up. He should have stayed neutral. But think about it. Yeah. Go back to when The Rock was neutral. He wasn't getting roles, bro. When The Rock had his hair and they made him lose all that weight to try to do roles, he wasn't getting paid. He wasn't getting anything until he became the way he is now. So it was a game, bro. And is it fake?
Maybe,
yeah, it's fucked up. But guess what? The Rock, he's the same one that got $100 million in the bank. So at the end of the day, he still won the game. And one day he's probably gonna.
I'm just saying now he's at the point where he has also so much money coming in from all kinds of streams. Now he could speak out. Dude, the guy could make his own films. He would even make more money if he wanted to. And no one would say, no, I'm not playing in your movie. He's like, I want to play with The Rock. Like, he could, if he wanted to. He's at a point, he's so high up. He's at a point he could just,
I don't agree.
I'll open my own film studios. He could do it. Like, he has so much now. He played the game for so long, he can, like, reverse it now if he wanted to. And so many people would celebrate the shit out of him and buy even more. Maybe he's going to realize that soon. Because, like, dude, all the people on the right, they would go nuts. If Rock would come out now, they'd be like, I'll buy your whole website, bro.
Yeah, if he went, like, right, and he's just like, do you mean if he's like, go Trump?
Oh, it's not gonna work, but it's not gonna work. Trust me. When it comes to Hollywood, if you are conservative, it is over. But you think The Rock has money? The Rock has nothing compared to the people in charge of Hollywood. The Rock is a fucking insect. He's not even close to that place.
But he can't still get a certain amount of support, though. Like, there would be a certain amount of people that would be hard supporters of it.
Bro, but it's not the same.
You highly underestimate his money. I think you highly underestimate it.
No, I don't. It's irrelevant. They're paying him that money. If you're paying somebody a certain amount, you're not going to have more money than the people paying you. It doesn't make sense.
How many?
He's still an employee.
Companies he has that he makes a shit ton of money from,
and he's going to lose all this support.
Shit, like, look at all the tequila and the skincare and the Zoa and how many other things he's invested in. Dude, he could not make a movie in his life anymore and would make $100 million a year.
It's not about the movie. Yeah. It's not about the movie. It's about the business. It's about who he's doing business with. They're all left, so his business. They're not gonna do well, bro. Yeah, but my whole thing is that I think he's doing what he has to do to survive, bro. At the end of the day, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but he's just trying to make a living. You know what I'm saying? It's when you control mainstream media, bro, it's over. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? He's trying to make his living. He has made his living. He can sit on his ass and turn off his Instagram for life, and he's fine. And his family, too.
So Leo's saying because there's no money issues, he can do whatever he wants now. There's no money issues.
It doesn't work that way, bro. His entire... Okay, first of all of his money isn't liquid. These are businesses. If his businesses die... Well, he's not going to... You guys think because you guys live a certain lifestyle. His lifestyle, it's not like this money is good for the rest of my life and my kids. No, it's not. You know what I'm saying?
But if he wanted to be, like he
not if he loses all his businesses. Bro, I don't think you guys understand the power dynamic when it comes to liberals, bro.
But you're not going to just
come out
liquid money, you know. Like he has possessions. Like he's always going to be fine. Like if we're talking about him living at the same level he's living at now.
The Rock is not
talking about.
The Rock is not trying to be fine. The Rock isn't trying to be fine. The Rock is trying to build a fucking empire. That's the kind of man The Rock is. The Rock was fine along.
Mm-hmm. You said he's trying to survive. You said he's trying to survive. I'm just saying this is not about.
Okay, I know. No, that much.
Not at all. He's The Rock. He's gonna live.
You don't get to The Rock's place just because you're okay being fine or rich. The Rock wants to be that guy. He wants that empire. Yeah. He's not going to stop. There's no top for The Rock. He's going to keep going. You know what I'm saying? That's just the kind of man he is. So he's never going to be like, I'm cool. Let me just go vote for Trump and just sit down and just rest on my businesses. You guys know he'll never do that. He's going to keep going to whatever he thinks the pinnacle is, which is there probably is no pinnacle for him. You know what I'm saying? And he's going to continue doing that. And I think that's his right. That's his right to do as a man. We don't agree with a lot of the things he says, but I don't believe he believes it. So it doesn't bother me personally because I don't think he believes what he said. I think he's just playing the game, you know. And that goes for all the other actors as well. I don't look at them and be like, oh man, I know it's all a game, so I don't take it. You know, even with Arnold, I don't take what Arnold says personal because I know he's a smart guy. He's gonna play a certain level of politics if he has to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I'm also thinking that a lot of industries he's in are more right-leaning. The fans are more right-leaning. The people that buy tickets are more right-leaning. The WWE, that's not like lefties. And fitness, that's not lefties. And like they should, like the industries he's in, it's rather Republican too. I think he would have tremendous new partners coming up, people that want to do business with him. Like people on the right have money too. I think he could easily keep going on do the same on the right. Maybe the films wouldn't be as much. I agree, but just so pretty solid. And like there's just film studios opening that are like, we're like anti-woke. We don't want all this shit. Like who just oh man, there's like two big Nicolas Cage and
Nicolas Cage is doing a movie in Australia at the moment, actually. I think in Perth.
He's making a new film studio with some other actress, super famous, and they were like saying like this is not woke. This is an anti-woke film studio and such. So the people are over it. Like it's gonna happen, man. I don't know.
That to me is equivalent. Like when people say, "Yo, Nelk, just forget YouTube, go on Rumble," and it's like, it sounds good, but you're not about to get 10 million views on Rumble.
Baidi, this is what I'll say though. This is what I'll say. I agree, but Rumble isn't as good. Like if Rumble looked exactly like YouTube, it would be and work the same way. You could have the same everything on there, and everyone put all their content on there. You'd hit Rumble because it just has extra, plus. But it's but
that's the problem.
The way the world's been, like this is left, this is right. The world has been like this for a while, and I get it. And the way the left used to be maybe like 10, 15 years ago is different to what it is today as well. It's like people got sick of too much left, like the so far left that we're seeing it in the media, and people are like, nah. So people that might have been over this part of the left before, they're now more here. I was probably
it's going to happen,
and now I'm here, or it's like it's moved. It's moved, and
it's going to happen.
And I think that it will happen online, and I think we're seeing more people now, like Stephen A. Smith, like who commentates. What he doesn't really commentate. He's like an analyst on NBA.
Yeah,
he used to always be super left. You look at his YouTube channel now, and he is squeaking in as much right as he can because you can tell he's not a far left, and he's still towing the company line because he's employed by ESPN. But he is like wanting to say it all when he's saying, look, I don't think either president's good. Like
this is not what I'm arguing with. This is all facts. This is all true. But that being said, now Xavier and Leo, completely cancel your YouTube then and go to Rumble. You won't do that.
I won't,
because it takes
no. No, it's wrong. You're wrong. You're talking platforms. So we're talking movies. So then we talk with cinemas and Netflix, for example. And the thing is, if you produce good movies and you send them out to all the platforms, and if they're good, they choose money over politics. If they're like, this is a freaking film, we got to bring it out, they're gonna put it on Netflix because they want the money. So if you bring something good, you get it. And especially if there's a Rock in it and people want to see the Rock, Netflix won't care from which film studios the Rock's movies will come. They're also going to get it. No,
they're not going to pay.
Look at Joe Rogan on Spotify. Spotify.
Yeah, good point. I was going to mention it.
Cancel it. Too much money.
That's false.
They didn't re-up.
They cancel everyone. They cancel everyone people don't want to see. But Joe Rogan, we keep him. We want the monies.
Yeah,
true.
What you said about Netflix, that's not true. Netflix is not going to choose to fuck up their relationship with everybody else besides The Rock. The Rock is not important enough for them to do that. It is going to take a lot more than just The Rock. Now, in time, I believe this will happen because everything goes full circle. It's just going to have to be enough people doing that. But this is going to take this is not going to happen overnight. If they're like, The Rock, this is this movie, and they're like, we have 100 other relationships we're making so much money off of, but this movie is really good. They're not about to choose The Rock over every other business relationship because everybody else is going to be like, fuck Netflix, we go on Hulu, right? So it's not that simple, bro. But Hollywood is a lot more cliquish than that, bro. They're willing to sever ties with The Rock if that means everybody else. I do believe this is gonna happen. It's just gonna take way longer than I think you guys think it's gonna take because this is really deeply rooted, bro. They really trying to.
Depends on the power of the platform too. The platform also has some power because the other guys also want to get on Netflix. So it's not a one-way street. It's not like, oh, we're going to boycott you, Netflix. They'd be like, but we still fucking want to get on Netflix. We can't afford to boycott them because they have more power. They're the friggin' platform. It's like you being like, I'll boycott YouTube now. They're like, you try. You're going to come back, buddy. So it depends. Like the power is not that one-sided, you know?
Yeah.
Difficult.
The Rock, I think to some extent, you guys think The Rock is more powerful than he is. Being rich and powerful is two different things. And even though The Rock is rich, further, The Rock is not a billionaire. And there are a lot of billionaires, right? And The Rock is not one of them. You know what I'm saying?
I think he underestimates himself. I think he doesn't have the balls and underestimates himself.
I agree with that.
If he would dare, he could do it. He is the guy who would be voted for president. He could do it.
Well, what I agree with,
It's gonna take more than one person. It's gonna take more than one person, bro. It's gonna take more than one person.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a good start? Boom. Okay.
If he would start, people would jump on. If he would start, people would be coming out there. Oh yeah. But he doesn't dare. And I get why he doesn't. You know, but
somebody's gonna have to be the person. You know, when somebody pulls out a knife, somebody's gonna have to be the one to get stabbed first. If The Rock was to do it, that would lead to this happening a lot faster. I think it's gonna happen regardless at some point. It's gonna take time, but if The Rock did it, that would be a very good start to something that I believe is inevitable. Nothing stays one side forever. It always goes back around, right? You know, now, so he does it, and then people start following suit. You know what I'm saying? I think that will go somewhere in time. You know what I'm saying? But he's gonna take some losses. He's gonna take some losses that I don't think he's like I said, the first person to get stabbed, you just got stabbed, so you're still gonna have to get stabbed for it to happen. I don't think The Rock is ready to get stabbed anytime soon. Maybe one day though. Maybe 10 years from now.
I think even what he did by going on Rogan recently and stuff, I think that's like a little bit of a just a little push. Just
he's like,
hey,
let's see. And he's coming. He's like, a little more. Let's see what happens. A little more. See what happens. And then he's like, fuck, I can keep going. And then it's gonna, you're right.
That's how I think it works.
I know he's thinking.
He's playing it smart.
Yeah. I mean, the Rock is like a country boy, bro. Like, I don't believe he's liberal at all. I believe it's really a game, you know. But it's all gonna unfold eventually. Everything comes out to the light, right? You know how life goes. Everything comes out to the light. You know what I'm saying?
He does enough interviews and he can't, he gets to a point where he can't sort of lie or doesn't want to anymore. And as people get older, you start to give a shit less. And I feel like I've had enough sort of experiences in life where I'm like, there's certain people and things, but I'm like, I don't care at all. I could care less what you think of me or what this people, whatever. Like in certain topics, I'm like, whatever. There's certain things you've got to maybe not say certain things. Like if I was just open about every single little part of my life and what I thought, it's like, if you did it, Baidi, if you did it, Leo, it's like, I don't think things will work out. Like you in every way. If I say this person's an asshole and this person, I hate this person, I heard this, and if you say everything that's in your mind, you get in trouble. So
it's gonna be tough.
You get to a certain point where you just I don't care about certain things. People can know this about me. Or...
Boston Lloyd was that way.
Oh man,
he couldn't lie. You ask him about someone, he's like, can't lie. He comes all out.
Yeah.
Man, him and Ariel when they were on a podcast, they were talking about like sexual stuff, and I was like, Boston he says exactly how this, exactly what his sex life was like based on what he would say. And he'd be like, I don't know, man. He'd just say it all. And I'm like, he has no ability to lie, and anything that's in his head will come out. If he thinks someone's full of shit, even if there's no proof of it, he'll say he's full of shit. You can tell he's a phony. He's like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I think that about some people, but I'm not just going to come out and just say I think everyone's a phony,
Yeah, I could relate to that. It's hard. It's so hard for me to be fake that sometimes I wish I could. I wish I could do a better job at it, but I can't, And us three, let's say us three, for instance, if we had the choice to make 8 figures a year, let's say 7 figures a year, being ourselves, being honest, versus making fucking 11 figures a year, but lying our ass off like The Rock. we would probably choose 7 figures a year. And I don't think we're just saying that because we don't have the money. I honestly think, listen, 7 figures a year is good.
Yeah, 9.9 million.
Yeah.
I was thinking a million and then a billion.
It's all what you want to do in life. Like, I've never been that hasn't been the full motivation for me. I'm not like, I'm never somebody who thinks like I gotta always make the most money possible. I can't leave anything on the table. It's more so like my quality of life and the whole nine. Listen, you can be a millionaire. If your goal is to be a millionaire in your life and make 7 figures, you can do it. Y'all can do it too. Y'all can do it. That's just not your driving factor. People I know who do, I know people in their early 20s making that. Why? Because that's their goal in life. They want to be as rich as possible. That's all they think about. Imagine if we didn't bodybuild. All day, all we did, all day we're awake. I want to make more money, more money, more. You'll figure it out. Trust me, you'll figure it out. That's just it's not everybody's driving factor. We want to make enough money to do what we love to do. But money itself is not what we love to do. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Money is just a tool so we can do what makes us happy. Some people, money is literally all that makes them happy, and they'll admit it. But that's why you're fucking rich. I have clients like that, bro. You're rich. You don't love your job, or you don't love what you do, but you're fucking rich.
They think they love it, but they don't.
But now, everybody comes around.
No one truly loves material things over personal relationships. Otherwise, you can live on a island with no one around and drive your Porsche and be in your nice house and have you imagine you have everything The Rock has, but there's no one around. Dude, your life is all about personal relationships and love.
100%.
You want to be liked and loved, and that's everything that counts. And what you do should be fun. Like, okay, if you're at that island and you love swimming, at least you got that, But
yeah. But no, he's right. You just don't realize that until you go through the phases, right? One of my clients, he lives maybe a couple blocks away from me, maybe 10 minutes away from me. Every time I'm anywhere around him, yo, come over. I come over. And you can tell he just wants the fucking company, bro. Yeah, come up. Yeah, this is my place. I'm like, bro, I've seen your place about 5 times. I know it looks. Yeah, this is my bike. Yo, this is my new car. Yeah, look at this one. Wow, it's nice. Okay, you want some food? Yeah. He just wants company. He has all the money he wants, but he's there alone. He has a kid. They don't live with him. He has the house for his baby's mother and everything. He pays for everything. He pays for his mom. He pays everything. But guess what? He's there alone all fucking day.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll work out with his trainer. That's it. So it's like, damn, I don't want to say he's miserable or not happy, but he's craving something else. He has the money. He don't need any more money. You're good. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like he's craving human interaction. He's craving shit. Oh, yeah. Oh, my son is coming over later. It's like you can tell this guy just like is lonely with all due respect. Hopefully he doesn't watch this podcast. but that's very common in West Hollywood. A lot of rich single guys who are bored as fuck, and they want people to come party. And I got this, I got the drugs, because they have all the money they could ever need. Alone in a big ass house. So, everybody thinks money is everything because we all started broke. And you make some money, maybe more money than you used to make it, and you realize, maybe there's more important things. But it's part of the journey of life, man. You gotta figure.
You can get a cleaning lady like I did. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's quality of life, bro. No, but seriously, I mean, I guess you realize that when you do something you really hate for a while, and then you it's like, as long as I do what I like, the rest doesn't really matter. And I'm so happy. I have the best life. I'm not like rich. Like nowadays, rich is like really hard. The kid 10 years ago, I would be considered rich, but
that's true. Yeah.
Rich used to be like a couple $100K. Like if you had a couple $100K or you own a house, it's like plus you have some
6 figures.
Like,
6 figures is rich. Yeah. 6 figures, damn.
Yeah, okay. Nowadays it's not. The 6 figures, like, it used to be like, whoa, 6 figures, and now it's like, you don't have 6 figures.
It's like, you're sad. Oh, you haven't made 20 million in the last 10 years.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Listen, if you live in California or New York, you almost have to make 6 figures, right? If you live by yourself and pay all your rent and God forbid you bodybuild on top of that, there's no way you could do it if you didn't, right? You couldn't afford it. So that's just, at this point, that's just like, I don't want to say normal, but you almost have to, unless you have to get roommates to show you.
You could.
I could. Yeah. So, dude, I had so when I lived by myself, I had an apartment that was 1,800, and it was even by myself. Lucky shot.
That's hard to find.
I went to the 99-cent store all the time. Now it closed.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm not taking 20 units GH a day. I could not have afforded that, but I would also be a diabetic right now. So good.
That's fine.
But no, you could do it. Like, you could do it, but it's like, I didn't spend anything on anything, bro. Like, now I'm buying some shit here and there, and I can buy stuff. It's kind of nice, you know. You don't have to worry, like, I like that. Okay, I can buy it, you know. But dude, like, it's kind of, but it makes you appreciate that, like, you know.
To be fair, now being in Cali for a while, I'm a little bit bougie, so I like to dress.
I was gonna say, Baidi's way of living is different.
I'm a little bit bougie, so I feel like I never have any extra money. I feel like all my money is being used, but that's kind of my own fault. Yeah.
If you tracked your money though, you would realize where it all goes, and you're like, oh, okay, I could wipe off 400 a week, you know, on this, that, you know. I got my beard done this week, you know, my beard and my hair and this and that. That was, you know, $80 or whatever.
100%. I've been doing that recently, and I'm like, yo, I'm going to the barber once a week, but my haircut is $90. Think about that.
Ooh. Yeah, I used to go once a week, but mine was 25 Australian, which is even less. It's like $20. But it was a friend of mine.
So I have a barber around $25 because he owns the house.
Yeah,
he doesn't have to pay rent. He's
in there. Australia used to be really cheap. Like
he said he's in there since like 1967. Like, he started when he was 18. Old guy, and he's like,
oh, he's like real
cool. Fuck it,
but super cool. Yeah.
That's that old man European cut, man. That like suits you. I'd love to see like a video of it. Like,
When he started, haircut was $1.75 or so. When he started working. Yeah. That's pretty expensive back then. If for the inflation, like, it's more than $25 right now. It would have been like more like 35, 40. I think 67.
Oh yeah, $1.75 would have been probably decent. Yeah, man, as a kid in Australia, I remember cuts used to be like $6, which is like $4 US or $5 US or something. I remember being all like $8, like you get a kid's haircut. I mean, I don't even know how it works. You know, it just doesn't.
When I was 18 in Germany, and the euro and the dollar are pretty even. When I was like 18, I still could get a haircut for $5. That's like 14 years ago. 14 years ago. And
that's wild.
It's wild.
I mean, even in New York, I used to get a haircut for $10. I would get a lineup for $5, haircut for $10. So
I got that in 2020. 2020, really? But like ghetto Richmond Hill, Brooklyn, Richmond Hill. I every Monday it was $10 around the corner. That was 2020.
Yeah, 2020. I don't know about I don't know if I would get a haircut from Richmond, Brooklyn for $10. But I mean, hey, listen,
I had no money, man. I paid $600 for the room that I had in Richmond Hill. $600. Like, it was good.
For how long?
Now,
no, but for how long did you get the room for $600?
1 month, $600.
Oh, that's very cheap.
Yeah. I did that for a while. I did, but you mean like an actual room, right, in an apartment? Like
just a room in the apartment. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was renting a place. I'm like, that is super cheap.
No.
I was like,
I did that too. I did one in Manhattan. I think it was $800 a month, just one room. Ooh. But the guy was rarely ever home. It was an old guy. Yeah, wow. Yeah. But it was an old guy.
Like New York, Manhattan.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's nothing.
I used like my. No, it was a nice place, bro. I kind of used my West African connection to do it because it was the old African guy. So you're like, oh, he's from Ghana. Oh yeah, bring him in. If I didn't use that, he wouldn't have let me in. But then he met me. He's like, what language you speak? And I'm like, I kind of speak Hausa a little bit. You know, so he probably didn't think I was.
Imagine that would happen the other way around. White guy, all these black guys asking for the room. He's like, I'm just taking the white guy.
Oh, he not
imagine the other way around.
That's
watch. It's so funny. I mean, right? No,
it's like
I could Nazi.
Yeah. No, but he only charged me $800 a month. He would barely be home. He would come home sometimes, just like with a girl or something like that. He was old, but he had some girlfriends on him, man. He had some girlfriends, and that was it. So I had the place to myself for the most part. That was great, you know. But it's almost like the less money you make better choices with the money. The money stretches further, right? But at that point, I was like, I don't know, 20, 21, 22. I wasn't making any money, but I made the money. Somehow the money stretched, you know, because you're not going to be frugal. You don't have. Yeah.
I still have my principles. Like some things I'm like, I'm not paying that much. Like there's like a maximum to what I pay for XYZ. And I keep that. I'm like, I want to keep that. Like when I catch myself being like, whatever, I'm like, bro, you're not paying more for this. You're not doing
smart.
Like when you go like out, like so they charge you for coffee with a little milk, $8.80. What? Like I drink it at home, bro.
$8.80 is ridiculous in American dollars.
Crazy shit. Like, dude, when I left, like when I was in Italy, I mean, Italy coffee's way better too, but and it's like a national drink. Man.
Australia.
It's like I think it's still $2 tops in Italy. So, and when I was there in 2013, it was like 80 cents. 80 cents every day.
In Australia, man, I used to when I lived in Perth, there was a cafe. It was called Yellow. So it was on the water, and it was basically like sitting up above. So it was on the backside. So you got basically like a little like cliff sort of thing, and then you got like the walking track like just along the coast. You got a road, then you got this cafe, and they got like a deck and everything. I'd go there, man, and I would think of it as like the coffee would be like $5-6, something like that. Maybe like $6.50 if you get something fancy, but that's only really like $4 American. So I'd be like, this is my office for like 2.5-3 hours. I'd sit on like the balcony there, have my laptop and like edit video or something. I'm like, that was like the best ever. I'm like, that's coffee. That's money well spent. If I'm there for 2 hours, I'm paying $5. It's like renting office space for 2 hours. Plus it's like total mental reset. But yeah. Coffee, man. If you want good coffee, Baidi, Leo, if you come to Melbourne, like if we have a Arnold Classic Australia or something, if we somehow come out here, you have to try coffee in Melbourne. It's like the capital for coffee, and everyone from America that comes there and has coffee is like, yeah.
But American coffee is shit. I'm from Europe. Like, I know you know. I know good coffee. Yeah, but yeah, like I would occasionally, like if it's a nice spot and everything, but I'm not going to Starbucks and to grab one. You know, if I like pay a lot for coffee, I want to sit there and have a great coffee in an actual cup. Way. You know, but like in a plastic, why would I do that? I have a coffee maker at home. It costs me 10 cents, and it tastes better even. Like,
yeah, honestly, I don't take away coffee.
Like it way better than any coffee here. So yeah,
I only take away coffee if I'm like going for a coast walk or if I'm meeting someone or something, and when we're going for a walk or something, then I'll take away coffee. But yeah, I know some people. Like I heard Fuad on his podcast. He said he would literally just go out of the house, drive X amount, get a coffee, and then come back. And I'm like, it sounds dumb, but I get it because it's like, okay, that's the way maybe you start your day or whatever. It's like you can think about your day in the car ride. It can be like cathartic and stuff. So I actually get that. But if you're just going out to get a coffee because you're too lazy or don't have a coffee machine and you're like using petrol and you don't get anything out of it, and then it's costing you $15 in petrol on a coffee, it's like that.
There's just people that come to goals every morning with their Starbucks cup.
Every single time, yeah.
And I'm like, dude, the Starbucks line also in the mornings. You don't want to be there. There's sometimes you would. I see it driving by. It's like there's like 10 cars in a row. You have to wait for your overpriced shit coffee for like 30 minutes. Just brew it at home and bring it to goals. If you feel better, buy a Starbucks cup. You know,
those Starbucks cups are expensive, man. For some reason, someone.
Oh yeah, $40,
like,
man.
Yeah, I was like $50 or something for a mug. I'm like, what? and some people collect them from different ones around the world. So I'm like,
I have a fun thing going on with my wife. Every time we see one, I'm like, if I consider myself rich, you'll see me buy one. That day I'll consider myself rich, I'll just buy one just because I can.
It's a bit different if it's a flask. You know, those flasks keep it hot. Like, I love them, man. I had a thermos one of those, and I used to, when I prep, I drink tea all day, like green tea or peppermint tea or some other type of tea. And while I'm training, I would drink tea, and it would actually heat me up, and I feel like I'd get a pump quicker. I don't know, it was weird. I still had my
dehydrating you, man.
I know that, but I would always have, before I'd train, I'd always have a pump product. It would have like plenty of sodium and all that sort of stuff. And then post-workout, I'm replacing sodium as well. So I was very cognizant of that as well, about dehydrating myself. But man, that was like the biggest dieting hack ever. Just have that thermos and just carry around everywhere. Cardio in the morning, it's like that. I would normally always wake up in the morning, hydrate myself first, so I'm not like dehydrating myself with like either caffeine in the day or whatever. And then I just make a ginger tea, like cut up ginger, put it in there. Like, I think I put like green tea in there or something. And then maybe peppermint tea as well. I just like stack it and then just drink that while I do cardio. And man, with the ginger in there, that like heats you up. It's crazy. So, oh yeah, I got you, Baidi. I got you. But, Baidi just saying he needs to be done in about 15 minutes. So let's quickly get to some bodybuilding shit because we've just had deep and meaningful all podcast.
I didn't want to cut off the conversation.
Man, we've been going for ages. I don't know. I honestly don't even know what we've been talking about. So we'll have to. I'll have to make some points from you guys after this.
To be honest, I think that's the best podcast. Like anytime I have like a bunch of topics, it doesn't flow the same as when we just talk. Like when you go hang out with your friends, you don't go with like a bunch of topics. Like, hey guys, I got some topics today. Let's talk.
That was kind of like we're sitting on the couch, and no one's listening.
Yeah, I like it.
I kind of like that.
I enjoy this more because I feel like the pressure's off. And both of you guys are really good at talking too, which really makes my life easy. I've literally kicked back a few times and been like, okay, is there anything
that's always the case. If you have two podcast hosts on a podcast
with a host.
Yeah, like with you, like we're used to asking questions and being curious,
engaging,
and most of the guys are like, I'll come and be interviewed. Most of the guys, and you have to carry the conversation for them because they would never ask you anything back. Never. It's all about
exactly.
Them,
There's bodybuilders that I want to get on a podcast, but then when I watch a podcast with them, I'm like, or like an interview, I'm like, I don't know if I want to get this guy because they just fucking. I'm like, I don't know if I want to, because there's no point at that point. You're just gonna sit there like this.
Dude, I ask people all the time, who should I get on the podcast? And they recommend me people. I'm like, this is not gonna come to any conversation. This is not gonna get, like this guy has a bunch of followers, but this podcast will suck. I'm not to talk about.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because there are some people. I remember specifically. I won't mention who, but there's a guy, in Australia back in the day. He had a big following online and he put out little clips of stuff and he seems really charismatic, like super, like, people loved him. Natural guy, got a big following. But then like interviewing this same dude or having a conversation with him, completely socially awkward. And you just don't expect it. And like, I'll be honest, like maybe he's a bit better now. He was younger at the time, but I was in shock. But I interviewed him. 2 or 3 minutes into the interview, I'd ask 5 questions, but it was like 1-word answers or like 2 words. I'm like, nothing else. So then I asked another question and I stopped the interview and I said, hey dude, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but you come across as being like very like 1-word answers. I'm like, you need to give me a bit more, because I said I've got like 12 dot points and we're through almost half of them. We're 2 minutes in. Yeah. I said, so just elaborate. I said, it's a conversation. And then when we started it again, first 2 answers was like, and I'm like, man, I was like, I'm just gonna have to endure it. But then we got into a bit of conversation. But I don't even know if that was just because he was just nervous or awkward about it, because I've gone on other podcasts and I'm never nervous to do mine. Like even having like Jay Cutler on, I was like a little bit like, oh, that's a bit, but I was still good because I know I'm in control. Like I'm interviewing, it's the same process or whatever. You jump onto like, I don't know, maybe RX, and I really respect Aceto and stuff. So when I first jumped on there, and you got like Aceto on there and Dave and stuff, 2 guys I've listened to for years, and you sort of hold these guys up here. It's like when I first went on there, I was like, yeah, I get a little bit nervous, like have that little bit of like, so you maybe, and then you're thinking about, am I talking too much? Not enough.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm like, am I talking too fucking much? Like, probably.
No.
Now think about having Jay Cutler in person in front of you. That's what I'm doing. Like I have
you are
in front of me. Really,
that's
different.
Get Jay,
bro.
Jay.
Okay, you know what's crazy? I never in my life, I don't care who it is, what celebrity, I've never met somebody and really like couldn't think of what to say. But besides Jay, because he caught me off guard, you know what I'm saying? Because Zayd is friends with Jay. So apparently Jay saw the episode that we talked about Jay, right? But I didn't get it because he's talking to Compton. Then Compton says, "Oh, this is my friend and client," and he turns to me, and Jay he's very sharp. So, and all in one motion, he recognized me from Zayd's page, and then he's, "Oh yeah, I saw what you guys were saying about me." And when he said it, I couldn't. I was like, "What are you talking about? What?" And I was like, "Oh, is he saying he saw the?" And I couldn't accuse. I was standing there like, "Oh, what's up, Jay?" And I'm like, "Oh, fuck," because I didn't. I didn't.
Jay loves that stuff. Like I joke around with Jay, like. Like I said something like to Jay, I'm like, watch out for Stu, and he's like laughing or crying, or said like a crying emoji or something back because Stu was like, man, Jay's a good looking guy. I'm like, you watch out for Stu, Jay. I hope Jay just goes up to Stu and be like, I heard what you said about me. I hope.
It just catches you off guard. Now, if Compton was like, hey, this is Baidi, and I'm like, he's like, hey, what's up, Baidi? What's up? Hey, oh yeah, what's up, Jay? Yeah, I look up to you. Cool. I love what you're doing with yourself. Boom. But because he said that, and it made me thinking, and I couldn't catch it fast enough, it threw me completely off. You know what I'm saying? But he was super cool, bro. Super cool. And when he sees you like that, he'll try to start conversation on purpose, right? To he'll be like, yeah. So what's up? What you doing here? To get you going. But I mean, he's super cool. It's just that that's the only person that made me feel like that. Like fuck, I don't know how to respond. Which is strange for me.
Man, Jay's a mind reader. When I was like 17 years old, I did nationals like in IFBB as a natural when I was 17, skinny as hell. But I did it. And Jay, or maybe I was 18, I can't remember. But we went to get like signed photos of Jay's and like signed DVDs and stuff. And Jay goes, he's like, yeah, hey guys, like he just, I think, lost the Olympia too. So like he'd won it and then he'd lost it and then he was out there like a week or two later. So like everyone's sort of like, like I feel sorry for Jay. Yeah. But, and you could tell he just wanted to get home, like he'd done the Olympia, come straight to Australia for weeks. And then he's like, I want to get home. But he was still always super cool to everyone. Like you could tell his mood was down a little bit, but he was even saying to me, like we got some signed photos. He's like, oh yeah. And then he said to me, he's like, oh, you've been having like blueberry pancakes and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's exactly what I had for breakfast. He was like, how do you know? And he's like, yeah. He just acted like, yeah, I knew. I'm just like, no. He's crazy, man.
His memory is next level, bro.
That's not memory. He just guessed.
Oh yeah. Well, the girl that Compton was coaching that I went to the show to see, he recognized her from last year. This is the bikini girl. They're the 100 bikini girls. How the fuck do you recognize me? I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, I remember last year when you saw me at the Dragon's Lair, and she's like, oh, I'm like, how the fuck would you recognize her? She looks like everybody else. Everybody looks the same, but he's just that's how he is. He doesn't forget shit. He recognizes people really easily, and I don't know. That's just Jay, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool. He's remembered stuff I told him like a couple of years ago, and I'm like, that's wild. but cool, definitely. But We'll get off this soon. I just wanted to bring up one guy so we put some bodybuilding stuff in this, or just quickly, like quick fire, a couple of minutes, bring up a couple of dudes because I know you got to get going, Baidi. How long you got? Like
anti-social answers.
Yeah. Give me the one word. Give me the awkward guy.
One word answers.
Yeah. All right. So someone who I wanted to feature was Stephane Matala. Who's being coached by Patrick Tour. And he's like, he's classic again, apparently, but he's added a ton of muscle.
How the hell?
Well, he said apparently that he doesn't want to go to open, but I don't know. Like, Baidi, like, have we heard anything different? Because
what? He can't do
no way.
What?
Okay, so he barely made weight last year, right? Now, it appeared like he needed to be leaner, but the truth is that he was leaner. He appeared leaner when he was bigger. So that tells me he was flat as a pancake, right? If you go from shredded to soft, but you're lighter, that means you probably took too much diuretics or whatever the fuck you did. So I actually think he's gonna look even worse because he's way bigger now, and he has to make the same weight. That doesn't make sense. I don't know how tall he is, but at least 212, if not open, because he's lean right now. He's already lean right now, and he's like,
you know what I love?
Huge.
People with big legs, they don't even have to place him that they appear big. Like he totally doesn't even show his adductors, but the legs are so big, doesn't matter. Like compact,
exactly.
Doesn't. He can put the speed like all the way together, stand straight, never like boom.
See, I don't know how he'd be classic with those legs. Like he's got some leg thickness there. You know what I mean? But people are saying here he's 5'10" and he can be 212, but he looks 212 size here, but I suppose his waist is small. I don't know. Like if he can fit into classic and comes in peeled,
if he's over 5'10", he can be 219 because that's my weight cap.
Bro, there's no way. You know why there's no way? Because like he looked like he was in this condition last year on stage. I know he wasn't, but it appeared that way because he was severely flat. So how would he be this big and then make it and be better? I don't. It's not adding up. I don't see how this could be better. You know?
So he said, he was saying this is a third of a way into prep, and then it says #classic bodybuilding, and it says
exactly, but not classic physique. He said classic bodybuilding, not classic physique.
Yeah, Patrick's from Europe though. Oh yeah, Europe. Yeah,
I think he's more hashtagging that because he doesn't want to hashtag classic physique, but he wants to say that the guy looks classic.
No,
Patrick
he says 219 pounds is his weight cap now. So in this, he's 236.
So he has to chop
17.
I mean, he can lose 17 pounds, but will that be his best look? I don't know.
I think this is a filtered video. I think the one on Stephane's is more accurate to what it is. But yeah, he's lean. Now, like he's put on tons of muscle.
Now, what I will say is, this is about how Ramon looks when he's in like the high 230s, and Ramon makes weight. I still think Ramon is coming in on the flatter side compared to how he looks. But if Ramon can do it, but this guy, I don't know, his body is different. He seems to fall apart when he keeps dropping down.
He can ask Ramon from extra kidneys from Brazil already, man. We all need some extra kidneys. Where's your blood type, bro? I'm ordering some for the future because the amount of aldactone is gonna totally kill me, bro.
That's not good, man. Not healthy. Patrick Toy is a very smart coach, and he is health conscious.
And he was never coached by Milo Sanchez.
No, so I'm gonna hope that Patrick is gonna make the best decision for this guy, and hopefully we see the best of him in whatever division he does.
He apparently said a few guys said to me in the comments that he never intends on going to open, but I mean that makes me sad. Even if I was him, I'd maybe even just say it. Like, oh yeah, you never know, or something like that. Leave the speculation open, because as a bodybuilding fan, just me as a fan, not as a commentator or whatever, even me as a commentator, I'm more likely to report on him. Like, imagine when he goes into the open, it's going to be more excitement around him because it's like, yeah, he can kill it in classic now, then he could go to the open. It makes him just a more exciting prospect. So, man, leave it open, you know? You never know.
Well, you can go on TRT for life.
Exactly.
Very classic.
That's what the other guy said. What's that other guy that he did? He was open, and he went classic, and now he's going back to open. You know what I'm talking about? The white guy? No, not him. Grimes? No, this guy is from Europe somewhere.
Yeah, white guy. I don't know any white guys competing in bodybuilding.
You know Mike Sommerfeld?
No, with the big ass legs. He did that open show. He got top 5, and he should have been higher. He lost to Mo Shaban and Ian. And so his pro debut, it was the day after his amateur show.
Oh,
you guys know what I'm talking about.
Fabioni.
What's his last name? Yeah,
Fabione
I think
Sylvain or something?
no, not him.
Oh,
This guy, he's probably on Bodybuilding with our border somewhere.
living
You
on.
guys know exactly what I'm talking about. He had the.
Which show?
I'm trying to remember the show. It was like 3 years ago.
Let me
I don't know why I can't
let me
remember
find.
He looks like an oversized Flex Lewis. He looks like a tall Flex Lewis.
We're not talking about.
He kind of has like brownish, blondish hair. It's gonna be up there somewhere
Dominic.
if you go to Bodybuilding.
Dominic, a German guy?
I don't know if he's German,
I know
but
Dominic.
the only you guys probably didn't see that he came back. So just think of a white guy, really young. He was like 22, that did his open debut and then went to Classic randomly.
I don't know.
I know it's
And I know, yeah.
Poisson, Florian Poisson.
Florian.
Oh yeah, Florian. Yeah.
Florian. I think
Florian
you.
Porizon or something or whatever it is.
So yeah, so he said he would never go back to open, but now he is. So
True that.
you can save. But listen, good move, because he didn't translate to Classic. In open, he looked actually more aesthetic as an open guy, but then he lost a bunch of muscle. So
If you
I
have
think
to
he was
deflate
really
and you come from a bigger size, oftentimes it doesn't look great.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that show, I thought he should have beat Ian and Mo. With all due respect, I thought he was that good. Ian wasn't the Ian we know later on, and then Mo was good, but a little bit on the smaller side back then. But Florian had just turned pro, and
Shout out to Callum as well. I've had this guy on the podcast once before. He's an Australian who's doing a Classic. Just want to give him a shout out for Taiwan Pro and Dubai Pro. So good to see he's made some gains. He's got crazy small waist.
So it's like
This guy looks like he needs face tan. Check his out, man.
he's not shredded.
quads, so.
I don't know who that is exactly. And I just wanted to feature as well. I believe his name's Jose Marie Biberi, Madelman. He's got.
He got big.
He's getting big, man. So you see what he wants. That's Classic.
Yeah.
There's more though. Wait, I've got to. I'll go into
underrated.
Yeah,
I didn't even recognize him. To be honest,
the other guy I competed against, the other guy in the New York Pro.
Oh yeah,
Classic. Marco Rus, that was next to him. Yeah,
this guy. Is he going?
He was in Classic. No, he would. Yeah, probably he's too big for Classic. Oh yeah, 212.
Yeah, he looks.
Yeah,
he looks like he got big.
He's super short too.
Oh, this is him too.
Classic. Yeah, but he was shredded.
Oh, they're both going to Classic to open.
Yeah,
that's
good
cool.
move. Matala was doing too much.
Yeah, I agree. The other guy was not Classic at all, but he was in great shape back then, and he had big quads, and they were bigger on the quads in 2021. Now they're getting away from it, I guess. If you look at Wesley, I have hope for myself.
Yeah.
That makes me really hopeful, man. Seeing Wesley win was like, yes. I was like, nice. I have a chance. Like, I should keep going.
I don't think
big, man.
I don't think legs should be like overemphasizing Classic. I don't like why is big legs so Classic?
It was like that for a long time, bro.
It was.
He told me in Pittsburgh I had the best back on stage, and I got 14th or something. But the next week I beat the guy who got third in Pittsburgh. It's very weird, but I was a little better in shape though. But, it's that tells you in Classic you can be 7th and win the next show. Could happen.
Yeah, it happens.
So,
Wesley get 7th at the Olympia, and then he won the Arnold.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. So,
yeah, it happened.
Dude, what's this video?
That's kind of weird video, but
look, he can't move straight because the doctors are so big, and he has to walk around his whole legs. Like,
against the sun. Yeah, he put on some size.
You can imagine if, like, Baidi, if you just put up this video, I would be clowning you so hard on this.
For sure.
What is the purpose?
Yeah, I don't understand. Wait, let's see the next slide. It might make sense. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why this is this next slide.
That's so random.
Oh, this is random pictures.
Like, this is a photo dump for sure.
Yeah.
What a machine. Oh, there's someone else? He didn't even put any caption. Anyway.
Nope.
I'd say that's
No
probably
caption
the time
needed.
to wrap up this show, man. And no, Baidi, you got to get going. And Leo, actually, this has been a super fun episode. Leo, we have to have you on more, my man. And make sure everyone on this podcast goes and clicks on and subscribes and watches some of the content on the Overcome podcast. The link will be in the description below. And also Baidi Farl's channel as well with the Fit Nation podcast and the videos he puts up on there. So make sure you do that. Everyone that's watching, because these guys are supporting me, I want them to be supported.
I was at his gym for a long time.
At Baidi.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fit Nation, yeah, it was, right? Good point.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
We got to have you on the Fit Nation podcast too. I'm gonna hit you up.
Yeah. I'm expired.
Our podcast, Baidi, are becoming more and more incestual. Like it's we're sharing a lot, man.
Mixing it up.
I like it.
Desktop Nation.
Yeah, Desktop Nation, man. Desktop Nation. But I love it, man. It's fun. It's like we have slightly different crews, but sometimes we get like crossover. And obviously, before I didn't want to have as many of the guys that you have on because I don't want to step on like Baiti's toes.
I was thinking the same. It's funny. I was thinking the same thing, but I'm like, I don't think either one of us really cares.
We're both chill.
You know?
And the thing is, I'm happy if guys go on other podcasts and like, man, exposure. Like the bodybuilders deserve all the exposure they get. And
wasn't Fuad mad that Nick went on other podcasts or something like that?
Some people
Wasn't
get
that,
on
I think?
podcasts. I don't know.
I think something was going on there. Might be wrong.
Nah.
I love you for it.
I have always found it hard to get people that are on Fuad's podcast generally on my podcast. So whether it's coincidence or not, but I've interviewed Sam plenty of times, all that sort of stuff.
Good point.
And Fuad has allowed that, and maybe because I've known Sam for ages, or maybe because Sam just wants to do it. Who knows? But it's sometimes it's just been hard to get other guys on, and I've been told stuff.
I want to, you know what? I want to get Fuad on the podcast. I want to get Fuad on Fit Nation podcast. And that's what I want. I reckon Fuad, if he does podcast.
I reckon Fuad would go on yours. I just have a feeling.
He might. Fuck it. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna reach out to Farl. Hey, come on the podcast. It'll kind of be. It'll be a cool dynamic because since me and you are doing the cross. I've had Sid Faruqi on, so we intermingle it. You have Dave Palumbo on. We just into we do whatever. There's no rules. We got Leo on from his podcast. Everybody just fuck it. Everybody
I'm exclusive.
No one will be on. No one.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about getting the Muscle Discord guy because I just started following.
What's his name? Matt, isn't it?
I don't remember his name. I gotta be honest. Muscle Discord guy.
No, I feel better about myself. I'm pretty sure it's Matt, and his last name starts with a T, but it's an. I feel bad now.
Yeah,
you should feel worse.
I think it's cool. Like you never used to see collabs like that, but now you see. I know with HD, right? HD. Well, I guess they're all HD guys now because Guy is with HD now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
but you see I think you see more intermingling. I like that. Let's fuck it. Let's all get everybody. I want to see. I want to see Ian on desktop bodybuilding. I want to see everything going on.
Man, I would love to have Ian on. Man, like I think Ian. I agree with a lot of things he says. And I love his like passionate debates, and he just sort of gets like really into it. So he's very good on podcasts, very underrated. I'd say. But anyway, boys,
you got to fly out to come on mine.
Yeah, I know. Right?
That's the only way.
Casual, like I don't know how 18-hour flight or something, something like that. Connecting, it'll just take me a day and a half or whatever. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. And I will make it out there, man, because to fly from one side of Australia to the other, return is about $800, right? For me to fly to LA and back, it's about $1,250. So it's like,
whoa.
Yeah, it ain't much difference, bro. It's like traveling around Australia. I mean, one side of Australia to the other, that's where it's expensive. But if you just stay at the East Coast, you're good. But unfortunately, when you live in the most isolated capitals, well, I'm going to be living in the most isolated capital city in the world. It's like Perth. There's nothing close, man. You're flying anywhere, it's costing you bank. So LA is definitely a possibility. But anyway, guys, that's it for this one. I'm Xavier Wills, the Baidi Farl, and also Leo Mayrhofer, Desktop Bodybuilding and Bodybuilding University. We are. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Bodybuilding University. And if you did, give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, and also subscribe and click the notification bell button. And that's particularly important because this is on a new channel. compared to the original desktop bodybuilding channel. Now, both channels will still be running. The original channel will have more bodybuilding news, and this one will have the podcast and interviews. So make sure you subscribe. And if you're not subscribed to the original desktop bodybuilding channel, head over there and subscribe to that as well. Anyway, guys, that's it for this one. For all the guys at Bodybuilding University and myself, Xavier Wills, we are out.